Meeting rooms and office space in more than 3,000 locations worldwide, allowing you to work from anywhere at any time, all on your terms. Call Regis today at 1-800-OFFICES and get a free office or meeting room for a day. Regis, here to help you grow.
Racing legend Richard Petty for Blue Emu.
After over 1,100 races, you could say I've been through the ringer. To help me keep feeling my best, I use odor-free Blue Emu made with real emu oil. Blue Emu Continuous Pain Relief Spray makes it perfect for all those hard-to-reach places. And now there's the new Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis Pain Relief Cream, perfect for hard-hitting arthritis pain. Thanks to Blue Emu, nothing slows down the king. Use what I use, Blue Emu. It works fast, and you won't stink.
An investigation into the Secret Service has been reopened after the agency's director changed his story about accessing information on a congressman. More from ABC's Kenneth Moten.
Secret Service Director Joseph Clancy says he was mistaken. He learned agents allegedly looked up sensitive information about Congressman Jason Chaffetz a week earlier than previously stated.
And you have to consider I was interviewed 4 months after these events took place.
Homeland Security's Inspector General will now conduct more interviews and add to its report, which found dozens of agents improperly accessed Chaffetz's unsuccessful Secret Service job application to embarrass him. Kenneth Moten, ABC News.
A daring driver in Tokyo wasn't actually driving when he helped Toyota demonstrate its self-driving car. He just pushed buttons to trigger the automation as the vehicle successfully navigated a freeway for about 10 minutes, changing lanes, braking, and reaching speeds of 37 miles an hour. Toyota calls it the mobility teammate concept. Karen Chase, ABC News.
Local news is brought to you by Fred Holmes Tree Service. FredHolmesTreeService.com, 427-4489.
For KMAS Newsradio.com, I'm Mary Lynn Foster. Mason County leaders might crack down on neglected residential properties left in disrepair, used by vagrants, littered with junk cars, or overrun with rodents. The county commissioners yesterday discussed that possibility and the prospect of hiring an enforcement officer who would be responsible for monitoring derelict homes and properties. During the meeting, Commissioner Tim Sheldon said the abatement issues are out of control and called for an open season on criminals in Mason County.
And that's what you have to get to drive down this stuff, because it's coming from, a lot of it's coming from these houses that are either abandoned or derelict. They're a nest of criminals who, that's where the drive-by shooting occurred here out of Golden Pheasant Road, and that's a dump. There's a dump out there on the Nelson property along Holiday Beach, right along the water. That's awful. The one that I see going down Purdy Canyon, the top of Purdy Canyon, is expanded.
Sheldon says there are more than 1,300 cases of derelict residential properties in the county that need to be cleaned up. No action was taken at the briefing session, but the commissioners directed Support Services Director Bill Kinney to write up a proposal for consideration. KMAS News Radio is hosting 2 debates and a candidates forum. The first debate between City of Shelton Commissioner Mike Olson and his challenger Kathy McDowell is this morning at 8 a.m. on Daybreak. The second debate will be between City of Shelton Mayor Gary Krantz and his challenger Marilyn Vogler. That'll be on Tuesday, October 13th at 8 a.m. on Daybreak. KMAS News Radio will also be hosting a political forum on Tuesday evening, October 20th at 6 p.m. at the Mason Transit Community Center in Shelton. Candidates running for local offices, Mayor of Shelton, Commissioner of Finance and Accounting, Port of Shelton Commissioner, and 4 positions on the Shelton School Board will be at the forum. You're invited to attend in person at Mason Transit Community Center or listen to our live broadcast on KMAS AM 1030, FM 103.3, or online at KMAS.com. Nighttime drivers traveling on eastbound State Route 16 across the Tacoma Narrows Bridge should plan for 2 nights of lane closures tonight and tomorrow night as crews perform annual toll equipment maintenance. Before starting work at the toll plaza each night, crews will close the on-ramp from 24th Street Northwest to eastbound State Route 16 at 8 p.m. Crews will then close all of the good-to-go electronic toll lanes by 10 p.m. I'm Mary Lynn Foster, and you're listening to the latest news on KMAS AM 1030 at FM 103.3 and online at KMAS.com.
This is Washington State football.
It's going to be an exciting ride.
Has room to the 20 as he breaks through to the 10. Dives for the pylon. Touchdown, Washington State.
Washington State, Oregon.
Has time. Throws it. Center of the end zone. Craycraft. Caught. Touchdown.
Listen this Saturday. Kickoff is at 3. Our coverage begins at 1 on the Washington State IMG Sports Network. Cougs, Dogs.
I'm attorney Harold Carr. During the past 25 years, more than 8,000 people have trusted me to handle their personal injury cases. I understand how an injury can disrupt your life and cause financial hardship for you and your family. At the law firm of Harold Carr, we have 5 attorneys and 19 staff members experienced with negotiating and litigating with insurance companies. So if you feel the insurance company is not dealing with you fairly, call me, Harold Carr. Let us deal with the insurance company so you won't have to.
Car accident? Call Carr or visit us online at haroldcarrattorney.com.
Another NFL officiating mess in Seattle and Black Monday for a coach and a manager. Hi, everybody. Todd Ant reporting on sports. As Monday night football games go, it was mediocre, but this one closed with a wild finish in Seattle in the same end zone as Fail Mary 3 years ago. The Seahawks held a 3-point lead over the Lions with less than 2 minutes left when Calvin Johnson caught a Matt Stafford pass and was just about to cross the goal line.
Fires inside, ball's caught by Johnson. He gets in the end zone. He fumbles in the end zone. The ball comes out of the back of the end zone. The official says it's a touchback.
On 710 ESPN Seattle, after that, Seahawks KJ Wright clearly tapped the ball out of the end zone. ESPN's Jerry Austin, a former NFL referee, has the ruling.
Once the ball's in the end zone, can get muffed out as you're trying to recover it, but if you intentionally bat it, and that was an intentional act, belongs to the team in last possession.
The Seahawks held on 13-10 over Detroit. The Finns have a new leader. Miami ended the Joe Philbin era after 3+ seasons and a 24-28 record. Tight ends coach Dan Campbell is the interim coach. He plans to turn things around.
We have to change the culture. I have to change the culture. And that's what I intend to do. And what that means is we need to become a more aggressive front. We have plenty of talent. We have the people in this building. We have enough to win.
The Dolphins are 1-3. To baseball, the Nationals clean house, firing manager Matt Williams and the entire coaching staff. GM Mike Rizzo says it was a tough day for the franchise.
So these are the first of the decisions that we felt needed to make as we meticulously evaluate why the 2015 season didn't go the way we had hoped.
The day before the Yankees playoff game against the Astros in the Bronx, CC Sabathia said goodbye to his team and checked into an alcohol rehab center. CC has the full support of his teammates like Alex Rodriguez and Brian McCann.
He's our brother. He has our unconditional support, and he's going to come back next year stronger than ever. We're glad he's getting help, and no one knew anything about it.
NHL News, San Jose Sharks forward Rafi Torres suspended 41 games for an illegal check to the head in a preseason game. Todd Ant, ABC Sports.
For Newsradio 1030 KMAS Shelton, FM 103.3, and streaming audio and video this morning on KMAS.com. I'm Dale Hubbard, Jeff Slakey over there, and you're where you are. Good morning to you. Well, the Seattle Seahawks once again on a national stage and once again got lucky.
Yep.
An awful second half of football for Seattle. And the quarterback, Russell Wilson, couple of fumble-rooskies, one for 6 points the other direction. There's a meltdown. I don't know what this experiment Tom Cable's got going on with these defensive guys being offensive linemen, but it ain't working.
No.
4 games, Russell Wilson's running for his life, and I don't care how young he is and how good a shape he's in, you keep sending these cement trucks after him, sooner or later he's going to get trampled badly, and we will be without our star quarterback. It's just awful, ugly offense right now, and it hasn't improved from the first game of the season. Last night, Cam Chancellor with a magnificent punch-out of the ball just before the score to have probably sealed the deal for Detroit. And then KJ Wright inexplicably kind of encouraged the ball to keep on going the direction it was going. Had he just left it alone and just assured that no other players from the Detroit Lions were going to get on that ball in the end zone, everything would have been fine and the play would have been correct, and Seattle would have legitimately won. Now there's this big pall cast over the whole thing because, in fact, the referees blew the call.
Yeah.
The call is that you cannot push a ball forward down the field for any advantage. And that's exactly what KJ Wright did. He popped the ball out of bounds so that nobody else could get it, and we'd get the touchback. That is a penalty play. And again, we got lucky as Pete Carroll dismissed it during his interview. That's unfortunate. But you just play, you just move on. Well, it's easy because he got the win.
Yeah.
It's not so easy for Detroit, who is the last remaining winless team in the NFL. Now, to our credit, the defense played extraordinary all night last night, and they deserved the win. Our offense is awful. It's awful.
I turned to Stephanie after that, and I go, and it was still about a minute 15 left. I go, Seattle's going to lose this game.
Yeah. At 13 minutes left in the game, I thought we were going to lose it. There's something. I don't know. I don't know. But you can sugarcoat it all you want, Coach, but you got an issue there at that front line, and it better get fixed because they've got some big heavyweights coming down the pike, waiting for them in the bushes, starting at 4-0 Cincinnati next week.
Yeah.
Woof. You won't have that luxury of hanging in tight and tough in a close game. All right, so 13-10, the official final score. Seahawks win, move to 2-2 on the season, and everybody's happy in Seahawkville, except the critics. Also in sports, the wait begins to see what the first big move of Jerry DiPoto tenure of general manager of the Mariners will be. The Mariners, one of the biggest disappointments in baseball, maybe only second to the Washington Nationals.
Wow.
Instead of playing in the postseason for the first time since 2001, when Jeff was only 11 years old, the Mariners now own the longest playoff drought in baseball at 14 seasons and counting. 76-86, the final record, after dropping 9 of their final 11 games. So far, Lloyd McClendon is still there, still coaching. And you can't say that for the staff at the Washington Nationals, who in its entirety was dismissed yesterday after being coach and staff of the year before. Crazy. And unfortunate note here, Seattle high school football player that was injured during a game last week, Kenny Boy, died this morning after being injured during the fourth quarter on a game Friday night for Evergreen High School in Burien. He was taken to Harborview and underwent surgery, had been in critical condition over the weekend and did not survive that. So that's an unfortunate note there. And that is sports this time around. We have a quiet day on the radio for sports, but we've got some pretty exciting stuff happening in a couple of hours.
45 and clear currently, warming up to 68 today, and we could see a little bit of rain during the overnight, leading us into tomorrow, where we're likely to see about a quarter inch of rain throughout the day and low 60s. Clouds Thursday, and the rain shows up Friday, again heavy with 3 quarters. 3 days of 3/4 of an inch of rain likely. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Gonna be wet. 45 right now.
It's Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Join the guys as they talk with neighbors, newsmakers, and each other, getting your day off to the absolute best possible start in the history of mornings. Connect with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line, by email or Facebook. Now, from where I-5 takes a sharp left toward Portland, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
All right, good morning to you. 617 at KMAS and online, KMAS.com, AM 1030, FM 103.3.
Yes.
Tuesday morning.
Take all those settings at 102.1 and 92.9 and never visit them again. All right, we are investigating a fire last night in Shelton on Railroad Avenue in the vicinity of 9th and Railroad. And our understanding is that there was a fatal injury, a fatality involved in the fire. We're investigating it. We will get the documented story to you as soon as we get it discovered here, and we'll move to bring that back along to you here this morning. Other news stories here around the Northwest. Jeff, this one kind of caught my attention in the headlines: marijuana-pesticides. The dateline is Denver, Colorado. Marijuana pesticide flap brings a consumer lawsuit in Colorado. Two users of marijuana in Colorado have filed a suit against a particular pot grower. They say used an unhealthy pesticide on the weed that they later bought. The lawsuit was filed yesterday in Denver and thought to be the first product liability claim in the nation involving the legal marijuana industry. So we'll keep an eye on that one and see how that plays out.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
6:18 here at KMAS and on the web at KMAS.com. Owners of the marijuana dispensaries in Southwest Washington are waiting to see the long-term impact that Oregon's legalization of rec marijuana sales has on its business. Columbian reports that one owner in Vancouver says he's not worried about the competition for the new law, despite taking a 10% hit in sales last week.
Wow.
Just in the first week of them being open. So that's it, 10%? Travel across the bridge for either sorts of things?
Is that still a bargain, isn't it? 10%.
Yeah. Well, no, not 10%. I mean, just the numbers, 10% less sales last week. Not the sales, not the people buying it.
So they're feeling the impact. And I think they are good till the end of the year, till January 1, I think, without having to
taxes on
put tax on that. So it could be a little bump in the road there for the Washington retailers. Here's a couple of more fires. Actually, in Auburn, 4 fires, separate fires, all broke out Sunday night in Auburn. So you got to think, probably, this is an arson-related story.
Mm-hmm.
Valley Regional Fire Authority says no one was injured, fortunately. 4 fires within a 2-hour period, the most serious of which burned 2 homes, displaced 3 people. Fire also damaged an empty duplex building, and so reports say the investigators are saying the fires are suspicious, but they're looking into what caused them.
We got a big show coming up today. We'll tell you more about it. And congratulations to Steph for winning this week's football pool, making all my picks for me.
It's not even fair. You shouldn't get any credit at all.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
I'm Spiro Ditas with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. 3 years after the Hail Mary unfolded on Monday Night Football, another controversial call made in prime time at CenturyLink Field. This time, the Seahawks entertaining the winless Detroit Lions. Seattle was in control all night, but Detroit was rallying late in the game when Matthew Stafford, marching his offense down the field to try to take the lead, found Calvin Johnson, who was in his way to the end zone when Cam Chancellor punched the football loose, sealing the 13-10 victory for Seattle. However, KJ Wright appeared to illegally bat the football out of the back of the end zone. No flag was thrown. After the game, NFL Vice President of Officiating Dean Blandino admitted that there should have been a penalty called on the play that would have given the football back to the Lions at the spot of the fumble. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
When you buy Napa full synthetic motor oil for only $3.49 a quart, you're not just buying the name on the bottle. You're buying the name on the door, on our shirts, that oil filter on aisle 4, and all the know-how that comes with it. So even though Napa synthetic is now only $3.49 a quart, you know it's worth so much more. Conquer the job with Napa know-how. General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 11/14/15.
How fast are Allegra gel caps? It's raking the leaves and loving it fast. How strong are Allegra gel caps?
I'm running with my favorite workout partner, Strong.
Non-drowsy Allegra gel caps give you noticeable relief of your toughest allergy symptoms. It starts working in just 1 hour, 2 times faster than Claritin's first dose, and stays strong for 24 hours. It's saying yes to pick up football with the guys, Strong. Allegra gel caps. Nothing's faster, nothing's stronger. Among OTC oral antihistamines. Use only as directed. Visit Allegra.com.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom31.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom31.com. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom31.com.
Hi, this is Mark Hemstreet, owner of Shiloh Inns. Many of our Shiloh customers have been visiting our Shiloh locations for years. And here's an example of someone who wouldn't stay anywhere else.
Sometimes I go visit family, but most of the time I travel back and forth for business. And the best part is that I always travel with my dog Lucky, and he's welcome at any of the Shiloh Inns. I love their beds, beautiful rooms, really clean. The staff go out of their way to make me feel comfortable. Business area when I need it. Man, I'm telling you, at the end of the day, do I ever enjoy that pool and the spa? Plus, free breakfast. I love Shiloh Inns. It's everything I need.
We invite all of you to try Shiloh Inns the next time you're traveling for business or pleasure. Call 1-800-222-2244 or visit our website at shilohins.com. Shiloh Inns, affordable excellence. American family owned and proud of it.
Hi, this is Terry Shaw from the Mason County Senior Activity Center. You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on Newsradio 1030 KMAS. Boy, you're smart listening to this station.
All right, good morning to you. It's Daybreak here, KMAS, KMAS.com on AM 1030 and FM 103.3. Coming up in the 7 o'clock hour, about a half an hour from right now, Under Sheriff Jim Barrett's scheduled to come in to talk about the costs of jail space and outsourcing the inmates, hidden costs about the jail population. So we'll talk with him there, 7 to 7:30. 8 o'clock is our debate between Kathy McDowell and Mike Olson. We will welcome them into the station, and we'll get them on the air for a half an hour to talk about the issues regarding the city. They're both running for the city of Commissioner of Finance and Accounting for the city of Shelton. Mike is the incumbent and Kathy is the challenger. A week from today, we'll have Gary Krantz and Marilyn Vogler on the air for the mayoral debate. And then that evening, we'll have on the radio the first national Democratic debate on the radio. So that's kind of cool. We were able to figure that out, get that all scheduled up for next week. And then
when is the Democrat debate?
Next week.
Next, what day did you?
A week, yeah, a week from today.
Oh, on Tuesday as well, later in the day? Okay. I missed that part of it. I was preparing my portion of the conversation.
Sure. Then on the 20th, we'll have a public forum up at Mason Transit Authority's new Transit Community Center, and we'll have 4 members for the races for the school board, the mayoral race again, the Commissioner of Finance race, and the Port of Shelton race that's open this year. So the next 3 weeks, very politically heavy here on KMAS.
Heavy, I'm telling you.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. We do have some Facebook photos of the fire that occurred as things were shut down about 5 o'clock or so yesterday afternoon between 9th and 11th and Railroad. There was a structure fire, and we have subsequently learned that there was a fatality involved. That's about all the information we can pass along to you this morning. There are some great pictures taken by Jeff Chu that are available to you on Facebook on 1030 /1030 KMAS. So you can check those out this morning if you're so inclined. And also 840 environmentally sound. Are we going living a country life this morning?
We'll be living a country life at 640.
Okay,
and
all right.
think I want to say somebody from the Salmon Center is coming in to talk about the end of the runs,
End of the world,
the salmon runs.
Okay, all right.
I thought I had that. So we may have 3 big interviews today.
Wow.
But we'll also, yes, be living the country life in our new feature here in about 15 minutes.
All right, other Northwest headlines here real quickly before we jump to Mary Lynn Foster. A grocery chain, the Hagen grocery chain, has found buyers for 36 of their stores in California and Nevada. Bellingham Herald reporting that the grocer will sell 1 Nevada store and 27 in Southern California to Smart and Final LLC. They'll sell 8 Southern California stores to Gelson's Markets. The deal's part of Hagen's big bankruptcy plan to downsize from 164 stores to 37.
Whoa.
They're leaving the Southwest market.
It's
hard to push all that salsa, apparently.
That is a big drop in numbers.
Boy, it really, truly is. Yeah. Man. All right.
Authorities say a man was stabbed after trying to thwart an armed robbery in the U District of Seattle. Paper up there reports police arrested the suspect who was being held down by shoppers in the incident on Saturday. Suspect jailed and the stabbing victim treated at a hospital.
And
so they got involved. The shoppers got involved on that one.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it is really good, actually. A former ombudsman. Do you know what that is? An ombudsman?
The person who runs a college. Is this a college job or?
Has filed a legal claim against the county of Snohomish, $1 million damages. He lost his job. John Koster accuses the county executive, John Lovick, and others of violating his free speech rights by urging county council members not to support his reappointment.
An official appointed to investigate individuals' complaints against maladministration, especially that of public authorities.
Okay,
is an ombudsman.
A county prosecutor says attorneys plan to review that claim with elected officials named.
6:30 here at KMAS, KMAS.com. Mary Lynn Foster has the latest news here in just a second. We'll check sports again as the whole nation is focusing again on that one little corner of the end zone at CenturyLink Field.
The magic corner.
The Fail Mary. Gruden last night called it the Fail Fumble. They got to have a better name than that by now. We'll talk about that coming up in the news.
Who's Tom Brady when you need to bash him?
Yeah, what's he been up to? It's all coming up now, 6:30 KMAS.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Local news is brought to you by Shelton Health and Rehabilitation Center. Find them online at sheltonhealthandrehab.com.
For KMAS Newsradio.com, I'm Mary Lynn Foster. Mason County leaders might crack down on neglected residential properties left in disrepair, used by vagrants, littered with junk cars, or overrun with rodents. The county commissioners yesterday discussed that possibility and the prospect of hiring an enforcement officer who would be responsible for monitoring derelict homes and properties. During the meeting, Commissioner Tim Sheldon said the abatement issues are out of control and called for an open season on criminals in Mason County.
And that's what you have to get to drive down this stuff, because it's coming from, a lot of it's coming from these houses that are either abandoned or derelict. They're a nest of criminals who, that's where the drive-by shooting occurred here out of Golden Pheasant Road, and that's a dump. There's a dump out there on the Nelson property along Holiday Beach, right along the water. That's awful. The one that I see going down Purdy Canyon, the top of Purdy Canyon, is expanded.
Sheldon says there are more than 1,300 cases of derelict residential properties in the county that need to be cleaned up. No action was taken at the briefing session, but the commissioners directed Support Services Director Bill Kenny to write up a proposal for consideration. KMAS News Radio is hosting 2 debates and a candidates forum. The first debate between City of Shelton Commissioner Mike Olson and his challenger Kathy McDowell is this morning at 8 a.m. on Daybreak. The second debate will be between City of Shelton Mayor Gary Krantz and his challenger Marilyn Vogler. That'll be on Tuesday, October 13th at 8 a.m. on Daybreak. KMAS News Radio will also be hosting a political forum on Tuesday evening, October 20th at 6 p.m. at the Mason Transit Community Center in Shelton. Candidates running for local offices, Mayor of Shelton, Commissioner of Finance and Accounting, Port of Shelton Commissioner, and 4 positions on the Shelton School Board will be at the forum. You're invited to attend in person at Mason Transit Community Center or listen to our live broadcast on KMAS AM 1030, FM 103.3, or online at KMAS.com. Nighttime drivers traveling on eastbound State Route 16 across the Tacoma Narrows Bridge should plan for 2 nights of lane closures tonight and tomorrow night as crews perform annual toll equipment maintenance. Before starting work at the toll plaza each night, crews will close the on-ramp from 24th Street Northwest to eastbound State Route 16 at 8 p.m. Crews will then close all of the good-to-go electronic toll lanes by 10 p.m. I'm Mary Lynn Foster, and you're listening to the latest news on KMAS AM 1030 at FM 103.3 and online at KMAS.com.
Excuse me, ma'am.
We're trying to sleep here.
Yes, ma'am, but this isn't a motel. It's the Olympia Furniture Company showroom.
I just couldn't wait to try it out. I figure it's kind of like a test drive before you take the car home, right?
Here at Olympia Furniture Company, we offer home delivery. We'll even set it up for you.
But we kind of live far out in Mason County.
That's no problem. Let's ring you up so you can get home.
Oh, right. Well, he's a very hard sleeper. Do you think you could just put him in with the new furniture?
The Olympia Furniture Company delivers more than just furniture. They deliver quality, value, huge selection, and the occasional husband.
Wilson's going to take it around the far side to 15, to 10, to 5. Touchdown, Seahawks! The Seahawks head back on the road and face the AFC for the first time this year as the Cincinnati Bengals play host. Hi, this is Steve Rabel. Join Warren Moon and me this Sunday, pregame at 8, kick at 10 a.m. right here on the Seahawks Radio Network. Seahawks! Marshawn Lynch says, get out of my way! Cam Chancellor comes up and just unloads number 31 between his clock.
4 News Radio, 1030 KMAS Shelton, FM 103.3. That's it. KMAS.com, audio and video this morning. Hi, I'm Dale Hubbard, 634. On your Tuesday, Russell Wilson threw for 235 yards and a touchdown and ran for his life all night long last night. He had a couple of fumbles as well, one that was run back for a touchdown. Cam Chancellor makes a huge defensive stop, and Seattle's 13-10 win over Detroit. The Lions were about to complete a 91-yard touchdown drive when Chancellor punched the ball out of the hands of Calvin Johnson, Megatron, at the Seattle 1, causing a safety that gave the Seahawks the ball with 1:45 left. Seahawks improved to 2-2 with their second straight win. Lions dropped to 0-4 for the first time in 5 years. Those are the basics. Those are the stats. The reality is Seattle better shore up their offense in a hurry as Cincinnati Bengals await them next week in Cincinnati. Joe Philbin, gone as the coach of the Miami Dolphins, and has been replaced by tight ends coach Dan Campbell on an interim basis. Dolphins are 1-3 on the season. Philbin went 24-28, no playoffs, and no above 500 seasons after 4 years with the Fins. And that is basically it for sports this morning as we await the Jerry DiPoto era to begin, and the new GM of the Mariners has some decisions to make and some things to do in the offseason, which began for Seattle yesterday.
Nelson Cruz didn't waste any time raising the 12th man
Busy
flag
in the offseason. Yeah, it was nice. Got a great round of applause and support from the fans. He had a good year.
Yeah. 45 right now, clear skies. We're warming up to 68 today. We are likely to see a little bit of rain during the overnight and a quarter inch tomorrow, 62 the high. Thursday, 69, and then Friday through the weekend, heavy rain at times with each of the days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, likely to see about 3/4 of an inch of rain each day. So, yeah, 45 right now.
It's Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Join the guys as they talk with neighbors, newsmakers, and each other, getting your day off to the absolute best possible start in the history of mornings. Connect with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line, by email or Facebook. Now from Shelton's Media Row, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
All right, good morning to you. It's KMAS, AM 1030, FM 103.3 at 6:37 in the morning, and a good morning to you. Under Sheriff Jim Barrett, likely scheduled to come in here at 7 o'clock. Kathy McDowell, Mike Olson at 8. And Art Bell's on the radio these days here on KMAS. Started this morning at midnight.
That's what was funny about the station this morning.
Midnight in the desert. Were you awake? Did you?
No.
No. I'll have to figure out a way to listen to it. I mean, we're preparing for the show between 12 and 3.
Yeah, that's it. That's what we're doing.
All right, good morning to you. We are streaming live on KMAS.com, video on YouTube. So check out the YouTube channel this morning when we have our guests start to roll in and see what's going on there. Some other stories happening around the Northwest, Dale? Anything?
Yeah, well, there is a college student from South Korea who was injured in that deadly bus crash last week of the Ducks.
Yes.
And so Na Ra Yoon is seeking unspecified damages. She's among a group of North Seattle college students who were riding in a charter bus when the duck boat struck it on September 24th. 5 people were killed in that crash. And she's probably not going to be the last person to file a suit, I suspect.
Right.
But there still has been no determination if, in fact, there was a faulty wheel, bushing, axle, something. They just know it was sheared off, and they're investigating. So Traffic Safety Commission is involved in that.
In a story similar to events happening here in Mason County, the governor has appointed a Richland lawyer to a newly created position on the Benton-Franklin Superior Court. Tri-City Herald reports that Jackie Shea Brown becomes the 7th Superior Court judge. State legislature created the new position in 2013, but its implementation was stalled while the two counties determined how to get funding for it.
Oh,
interesting there. Benton Franklin Superior Court. I wonder if there's anything that we could do. Mason Thurston Court, like that.
I don't know.
To spread out the workload. I don't know if that would, I wonder if that's the reasoning behind Benton and Franklin getting together. Maybe because those counties are so small.
Very lightly populated.
Their dockets are very light court cases on the dockets. So that could be it, I suppose. But
that is certainly a possibility. You betcha.
They are combined there.
All right. And as mentioned earlier this morning, there was a fire in downtown Shelton over the evening. It actually started yesterday afternoon, tail end of the commute there, somewhere around 5-ish. And we subsequently learned there was a fatality involved in the blaze, and we're getting details for you this morning on that. It did kind of snag traffic for folks who were buzzing around town around the 5 o'clock hour last night. So there is that story to track down. We're working on that one. And there are a lot of quips going on the internet about the Seahawks in their game last night. And, a chance to shine. If you want to take good out of the whole thing, we won. And we've won 10 in a row on Monday night. And we are 2-2, and those are all the good things. The bad things are, we got lucky. There was a blown call by the officials, and we, we gave a late game drive up. We lost momentum. We did not look like the winners at the end of the game. It was a kind of a shameful victory.
Yeah.
In a way. I feel like embarrassed to have taken the win from Detroit.
Do you feel more embarrassed about this win or the Hail Mary?
I like the Hail Mary. I like beating Green Bay, and I don't think that was a blown call. I mean, they were replacement referees.
That's right.
The big contention was that Golden Tate pushed off on the defense. Well, there was 3 guys around Golden Tate when he pulled that ball in, and mutual both players having control of the ball going to the ground you go to the offense. When a tie goes to the offense. So I don't think that call was that bad. I mean, one said no good and the other one said touchdown, which is the famous picture, but I don't think that was as bad a call as last night's was.
Right.
Last night,
I mean, the guy was standing right there.
Yeah, but he was, to his credit, he's looking at the line to make sure that ball goes out of bounds, and he wants to call it exactly right. He wasn't looking at the player. You could see he's looking straight down the line and waiting for the ball to cross it, to his credit. So he does. And the way that KJ Wright touched the ball, it was almost like in stride, and he kind of like inadvertently hit it, but he did reach out. You could, but it would be hard to prove that he reached out. It would be, he could say, I was just running after it and my hand hit it. So a very controversial end to the game last night. I'm more concerned about the health of Russell Wilson moving forward because, and listen, Detroit played a whale of a defense. I didn't know one of their coaches is the old defensive line coach for Seattle. He had us dialed up. Mm-hmm. Their defense played really well against Seattle last night. They really did, all night long. And that's something to be concerned about. If I was Coach Carroll and company, I'd be very, very concerned about their lack of protection, their lack of running game. I mean, there's just a lot of gaps going on with that offense and the inability to get the passes to the receivers because there's no time. And so, there's some stuff to be worried about as we move forward. But this morning, 2-2, baby.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, geez. So we'll await. We go early in the morning back east next Sunday, 10 a.m. kickoff. We'll begin our coverage at 8 in the morning on Sunday as we take on the Bengals. A little bit of a short turnaround for Seattle, one day less to prepare. There were some injuries last night, too. We'll try to catch up on those for you.
It's 6:44 here at KMAS, and we'll be living the country life here in just a second with a new program we have for you here at 6:40 and 12:46 in the afternoon during the Dave Ramsey program. It's a portion of our environmentally sound coverage all around the community and the area. And speaking of the area, it has grown now, and we are online at KMAS.com, also AM 1030, FM 103.3 today. And we encourage you to tune in and try it out at 103.3 in about an hour and 15 minutes or so. We'll be welcoming in the City of Shelton Commissioner of Finance and Accounting, and that's Mike Olson. His challenger, Kathy McDowell, will both be here at the same time to talk about the issues at hand. We've got an election coming up here shortly. You'll likely get your ballots in the next couple weeks, and before you know it, it will be November, and November 3rd is Election Day. It's the first Tuesday of November, so you'll have a chance to vote on the mayoral race here in the city, the finance commission position. There's a bunch of school board races. In addition to locally in your area, you may be voting on fire districts or certain levies. Every election is an important one. And even though this is considered an off election year, there's no state or national house races. Every election is an important one because these are the ones, these local ones are the ones where you see the people every day. It's stuff that could affect you every day. Less abstract, is more of like the Washington, D.C. laws that are made. So these are important races nonetheless. And we'll have information for you coming up.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Deer are unpredictable, so when you're driving, be on the lookout. Hi, I'm Jody Henke. Dusk and dawn are the prime time, so if you see a deer, slow down and don't swerve your vehicle as you're living the country life.
Living the country life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic and from previous shows by visiting us online at livingthecountrylife.com. We'll return to the show after these messages.
We are doers. We are successful only when the job is done. We are Kubota. With Kubota's all-new B50 series compact tractors, we dig in, load up, and haul out with ease. Every B50 series runs on a cleaner running Kubota diesel engine with up to 33 horsepower. Plus, see your landscape in a whole new way from the comfort of an available fully integrated cab. Visit your local Kubota dealer today for low-rate long-term financing during the Power to Do Great Things sales event. Here to help the doers, we are Kubota.
Read Living the Country Life magazine on your computer and mobile devices. Each issue features great stories, how-to help, reader tips, and recipes, as well as beautiful photos to spark new ideas for your place in the country. All the stories and features you love about Living the Country Life magazine are right at your fingertips, anywhere, any way you want them. Visit nextissue.com or zenio.com to subscribe. There's no limit to how many times you can enjoy your digital editions of Living the Country Life.
A couple of years ago, my son's friend hit a deer. Fortunately, Lucas wasn't hurt, but the front end of his car wasn't so lucky. As deer move between their bedding and feeding areas, they sometimes cross the road and end up in the path of a vehicle. Terry Messmer is an extension wildlife specialist at Utah State University. He says it happens most often at dawn or dusk on a high-speed 2-lane highway with forest cover close to it. Messmer has done research on how you can lessen your chance of colliding with a deer.
What we found out is that if folks drove the posted speed limits, the risk of having a deer vehicle collision decreased about 3 times. So what that does is actually gives the driver more time to react and more awareness in seeing deer alongside the road.
Maintaining awareness is another key. Pay attention to signs that are posted on stretches of highway with known deer activity and put the cell phone down. Keep in mind that if you see one deer, there's probably more since they tend to travel in family groups and small herds. Messmer says if a deer jumps out in front of you, your first reaction might be to swerve to avoid hitting it. That can be problematic.
For one, if there's oncoming traffic, we've had cases where motorists have swerved to miss a deer and ended up having a head-on collision. And so the best recommendation is to prepare for the impact. Brake, slow down, and accept the consequences.
If you're traveling a multi-lane road, be on the inside lane as much as possible. This will increase your scope of vision and give you more reaction time. Find more tips to avoid crashing into deer at livingthecountrylife.com. I'll see you in the country.
Living the Country Life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic, share your tips, and post photos by visiting us online.
Taylor Shellfish is a proud sponsor of the Environmentally Sound program. For 5 generations, the Taylor family's been stewards of a healthy and prosperous Puget Sound. In partnership with nature, Taylor Shellfish brings you the freshest, most sustainable shellfish you'll ever eat. Visit their store at 136 Southeast Lynch Road. Open daily from 10 to 6, and they're online at TaylorShellfishFarms.com.
Hey, moms, what happened to that bold, gritty stud you married? These days, he lets your daughter braid his hair. He arranges pillows. He enjoys scented candles. He has officially been debolded. But you can rebold him with Papa Murphy's Bold New Buffalo Chicken Pizza, featuring Frank's Red Hot Sauce. That'll bring back his inner boldness. But don't worry, he still won't renew his motorcycle license. Home bake Papa Murphy's large buffalo chicken pizza for just $11. Fresh made, fresh baked. Papa Murphy's, love at 425 degrees.
Hi, this is Deb Riley from Mason County Public Health and Human Services, and you're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
All right, good morning to you. It's Daybreak here, KMAS AM 1030, FM 103.3, 651 on a Tuesday morning.
Well, you knew it was going to be tough sledding for the game last night when about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, all the lanes of northbound 5 were shut down.
Yeah, I heard
around Federal Way.
When Dory has to break in his pregame with a traffic report, you know it's bad.
It's bad. It was bad. And apparently some serious injuries involved in a 5-car pileup on I-5.
Oh, my goodness.
Right near Federal Way last night. Yesterday afternoon, a couple, 3 hours out in front of the game.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't seem to impact attendance. The CenturyLink Field was just jumping.
Oh, yeah, they were rocking
The
it.
fans looked good. You know, the defense played well. Everybody was in good spirits, and everybody was pretty happy with the win last night. But it's just there's something hollow about it because of I haven't really seen Russell Wilson get chased around so much as he was last night. I mean, he's always doing those magnificent spin arounds and eluding tacklers, but he was spinning around and running right into two more. I mean, they were coming. They were relentless. And let me tell you, every single team on our schedule is taking notes. I'm watching what Detroit did, and they had some great blitzes that came in from the outside and delayed blitzes and these sorts of things, and people that were unaccounted for taking straight shots at Russell Wilson, and his athletic ability got him out of danger for the most part, but he had 2 fumbles. And, I don't remember what they said the statistic was, but something like in the neighborhood of he had like 5 all year last year, and he had 2 last night. Yeah. And he lost 1, and one was, they lost 2, and they lost another. So our new little run back guy there for the kickoffs, Lockett had one of the kicks hit him in the face mask, and we lost that one too. So it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
And it should have been a lot worse. Wow. But, man, 1-3 would have been horrible this morning. So, thankfully, we're only 2-2. But, man, crazy game last night. That's for sure.
One of the things, if you watched the TV broadcast, and if you've watched any football this year, you may be familiar with the words DraftKings and FanDuel.
Maybe.
God, they're everywhere. They are sponsoring everything.
You can't not know about it.
And you can't not do it here in the great state of Washington.
Right. It's illegal here.
Well, good for us.
Apparently so.
Because DraftKings and FanDuel, their websites, taking fantasy football to new heights. The 2 sites...
Are they both the same company?
I don't know. And here's where it gets weird. I've got a report for you from David Wright from ABC. The 2 sites have taken in $60 million in just the first week of the NFL season. But now there's word of insider trading.
Yeah.
Outrage after claims that a DraftKings employee won money on the FanDuel site.
Yeah, like $350,000.
A congressman from New Jersey, Frank Pallone, is calling for hearings. Here's ABC's David Wright with some more on this.
Critics say these sites, which are not currently regulated, are tantamount to straight-up gambling and ought to be treated the same way as other forms of sports betting. One congressman now calling for hearings on Capitol Hill.
How is it any different for sports betting? I don't see it. What, because you call it fantasy?
The Fantasy Sports Trade Association says, for now, DraftKings and FanDuel have decided to prohibit employees from participating in online fantasy sports contests for money.
So again, that was ABC David Wright. And that makes sense that why they didn't have that in the rules beforehand. I cannot tell if these are the same companies.
The stories are phenomenal. $2. I played
spent $35.
$35. I have $1 million. When it sounds too good to be true. Normally, we know the finish of that line. Now, did you hear about this too? LinkedIn there's a class action suit against LinkedIn.
I
got one on email, and but I thought, oh geez, this is a scam. I checked the address, so it says LinkedIn.com.
Well, still, even today, I would not click on things, even if it says that. But Stephanie, I must not have a LinkedIn account because Stephanie got this too. What's the deal?
So there's a class action suit they apparently somebody's got a beef because they are contacting people upon your request, or allegedly to hook up with them, to be a LinkedIn friend or whatever you're supposed to be, a link, and it's going on without approval. So all of a sudden now you've got all these new LinkedIn contacts that they never said, oh yeah, sure, I'll link up with Dale.
You know what's so weird that you bring this up? I have a friend him and I just became Facebook friends. We know each other, but we just became Facebook friends. We have no known associations. He doesn't like KMAS on Facebook. He doesn't like any of us at Facebook, but he's a radio guy. So he knows of us, but he is not physically on Facebook friends with any of us. He doesn't like the station. He got people you may know. Jeff Slakey. And he goes, well, yeah, I know him. How do you know that I know him?
Yeah.
That's the weird one.
That's kind of what this is about.
And so we're trying, I go, okay, so could it be that our IP address now it all emanates from a certain location, from our service provider in Newsradio?
You may have radio friends, and he may have radio friends that are a commonality.
No. It doesn't show up on those kind of, here's how you know him. It's just people you know.
Oh.
And I've heard this also, kind of a different side story, but victims of abuse will often see their abuser as a person you should be friends with, or because it's all people run in the same circles.
Creepy. Yeah.
And so just weird. So that LinkedIn is a strange one. This Facebook thing is how do they know? I mean, I get associations, but how do they? Is this some new breaking news? Okay, we'll have some fire information for you after the news.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Fashion mavens we are not, but we love to keep our eyes on the trendsetters. It's a look at the fashion forecast for the upcoming season from the Old Farmer's Almanac.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency. Do you know the #1 cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance, even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-790-9836. That's 1-800-790-9836. Call 1-800-790-9836.
With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report for Tuesday, October 6th, the 279th day of the year. The fall colors in New York State were buried in white on this day in 1846. The Finger Lakes region was treated to an early snowfall of 26 inches. When it comes to fashion trends, we admit to being a little behind the curve, but it's still fun to see what the trendsetters will be sporting this fall and winter. It looks like the 1970s will be back in a big way. Suede leather, turtlenecks, and psychedelic prints are said to be the look for the season. Flared trousers will be everywhere, along with some Victorian touches like frilly blouses and puffy sleeves. Can't make up your mind which colors and textures suit you? You're in luck. Wild patchwork designs incorporating mismatched fabrics will also be in vogue. There's your Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. Learn more at almanac.com.
The Chad Benson Show is live from 3 to 6, weekdays on 1030 KMAS Shelton, FM 102.1, and now in Thurston County on 92.9.
The latest from ABC News. I'm Karen Chase. It's a sad irony in South Carolina, where flood-ravaged residents are desperate for water. Drinking water. Historic flooding has left many without it and thousands without power. Rivers have not yet crested, and ABC's Alex Perez tells us the damage already done could take years to repair.
One of the big side effects of all this rainwater is damage to the roads. Across the state of South Carolina, about 500 roads are damaged, closed right now. In Columbia, South Carolina, 100 roads alone have been shut down because they've been damaged by the rain. In some cases, the heavy rainfall, the heavy floodwaters have completely washed away huge chunks of the road. So it's going to take a while to get all of that back in place.
Federal safety investigators are opening a separate probe into the missing cargo ship that vanished with 33 aboard off the Bahamas. One body has been recovered. Crew members' relatives want to know why the ship sailed into a hurricane. Meanwhile, ABC's Lindsay Janis tells us the Coast Guard is narrowing its search for survivors.
Coast Guard planes are back in the air searching this morning. Overnight, several Coast Guard cutters and commercial boats worked through the tonight, keeping up the search. The search now focused on finding potential survivors in the water or on life rafts or a lifeboat. This because the Coast Guard believes the ship now sank.
General Mills says it's embarrassed and sorry about the recall of nearly 2 million boxes of Cheerios erroneously labeled gluten-free. They might actually contain wheat flour. Passengers aboard an Amtrak train say it didn't feel any worse than airplane turbulence when the train hit a rock slide. 2 cars jumped the tracks and plunged down a ravine. 7 people were hurt, but not with life-threatening injuries. The Federal Railroad Administration is investigating. The big reveal is today in Michigan. Lottery officials will introduce the lucky winner of last week's $310 million Powerball jackpot. If he or she or they choose the lump sum option, it'll amount to $197 million. This is ABC News.
Honey, I'm really worried about our retirement funds.
Oh, me too. We lost so much value in the recession in the stock market. I'm worried we won't have enough to retire.
Jim next door told me that he had set up a new kind of IRA with a gold silver group. He said how simple and safe it was. It's a private storage IRA, and we could have real gold and silver in our hands.
Really? You mean we can actually see it and touch it?
Absolutely. Jim said we could have all the benefits of an IRA to help build our retirement income. Bottom line, we would own a real tangible asset, and we would have the security of knowing we're protected no matter what the economy does. What do you think?
I think we need to find out how to get our own private storage IRA. We need to call the Gold Silver Group right now.
Are you ready to protect your future? Call 800-295-6803 now to find out how easy and safe it is to set up a private storage IRA with Gold Silver Group and find out how you can qualify for up to $700 in free silver. All transactions are privately delivered and fully insured. Please call us now. 800-295-6803. 800-295-6803.
Nobody likes to pay full price for anything these days when there are so many discount coupons online. ABC's Daria Albinger talked to the experts about the latest money-saving tips.
Finding discount coupons can take a lot of time and energy. The Street's Lauren Lyons-Cole says you can save time and money with these tips. Start by checking out blogger sites like Coupon Mom. Then use social media to your advantage.
Following your favorite brands on Twitter, signing up for their email list, even Facebook, being really interacting with the brands that you like on a regular basis is the best way to save.
And rebate sites like Checkout 51 can put even more money in your pocket. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
Snapchat prides itself on being a discreet app, but one picture didn't self-destruct soon enough for one woman. She was trying to send a racy selfie to her boyfriend and accidentally sent it to her boss with the caption, "What are you missing this weekend?" He responded by saying, "You probably didn't mean to send this to me, but please be more careful. I'm your boss." Karen Chase, ABC News.
Local news is brought to you by Shelton Health and Rehabilitation Center. Find them online at sheltonhealthandrehab.com.
For KMAS Newsradio.com, I'm Marilyn Foster. Mason County leaders might crack down on neglected residential properties left in disrepair, used by vagrants, littered with junk cars, or overrun with rodents. The county commissioners yesterday discussed that possibility and the prospect of hiring an enforcement officer who would be responsible for monitoring derelict homes and properties. During the meeting, Commissioner Tim Sheldon said the abatement issues are out of control and called for an open season on criminals in Mason County.
And that's what you have to get to drive down this stuff, because it's coming from, a lot of it's coming from these houses that are either abandoned or derelict. They're a nest of criminals who, that's where the drive-by shooting occurred here out of Golden Pheasant Road, and that's a dump. There's a dump out there on the Nelson property along Holiday Beach, right along the water. That's awful. The one that I see going down Purdy Canyon, the top of Purdy Canyon, is expanded.
Sheldon says there are more than 1,300 cases of derelict residential properties in the county that need to be cleaned up. No action was taken at the briefing session, but the commissioners directed Support Services Director Bill Kenny to write up a proposal for consideration. KMAS News Radio is hosting 2 debates and a candidates forum. The first debate between City of Shelton Commissioner Mike Olson and his challenger Kathy McDowell is this morning at 8 a.m. on Daybreak. The second debate will be between City of Shelton Mayor Gary Krantz and his challenger Marilyn Vogler. That'll be on Tuesday, October 13th at 8 a.m. on Daybreak. KMAS News Radio will also be hosting a political forum on Tuesday evening, October 20th at 6 p.m. at the Mason Transit Community Center in Shelton. Candidates running for local offices, Mayor of Shelton, Commissioner of Finance and Accounting, Port of Shelton Commissioner, and 4 positions on the Shelton School Board will be at the forum. You're invited to attend in person at Mason Transit Community Center or listen to our live broadcast on KMAS AM 1030, FM 103.3, or online at KMAS.com. Nighttime drivers traveling on eastbound State Route 16 across the Tacoma Narrows Bridge should plan for 2 nights of lane closures tonight and tomorrow night as crews perform annual toll equipment maintenance. Before starting work at the toll plaza each night, crews will close the on-ramp from 24th Street Northwest to eastbound State Route 16 at 8 p.m. Crews will then close all of the good-to-go electronic toll lanes by 10 p.m. I'm Mary Lynn Foster, and you're listening to the latest news on KMAS AM 1030 at FM 103.3 and online at KMAS.com.
Take KMAS wherever you go with our new free KMAS mobile app. It's a free download from either your Apple or Android device. Check out the latest news, connect with KMAS, and even listen wherever you have a signal. Search KMAS in your app store and download our free KMAS app today.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch Daybreak live. Follow the link on KMAS.com or search KMAS Radio on YouTube.
Is your family doing some growing? Whether it's an expansion of your home or the addition of a new family car, Peninsula Credit Union can provide fast, friendly service with terrific rates. We offer personal lines of credit, affordable auto loans, and a variety of home loan options to get you moving. Visit our offices in Shelton, Belfair, Paulsbo, Port Orchard, and Port Townsend, or go online to pcfcu.org. At Peninsula Credit Union, our priority is you.
Another NFL officiating mess in Seattle and Black Monday for a coach and a manager. Hi, everybody. Todd Ant reporting on sports. As Monday Night Football games go, it was mediocre, but this one closed with a wild finish in Seattle in the same end zone as Fail Mary 3 years ago. The Seahawks held a 3-point lead over the Lions with less than 2 minutes left when Calvin Johnson caught a Matt Stafford pass and was just about to cross the goal line.
Fires inside, ball's caught by Johnson. He gets in the end zone. He fumbles in the end zone. The ball comes out of the back of the end zone. The official says it's a touchback.
On 710 ESPN Seattle, after that, Seahawks KJ Wright clearly tapped the ball out of the end zone. ESPN's Jerry Austin, a former NFL referee, has the ruling.
Once the ball's in the end zone, can get muffed out as you're trying to recover it, but if you intentionally bat it, and that was an intentional act, belongs to the team in last possession.
The Seahawks held on 13-10 over Detroit. The Finns have a new leader. Miami ended the Joe Philbin era after 3+ seasons and a 24-28 record. Tight ends coach Dan Campbell is the interim coach. He plans to turn things around.
We have to change the culture. I have to change the culture. And that's what I intend to do. And what that means is we need to become a more aggressive front. We have plenty of talent. We have the people in this building. We have enough to win.
The Dolphins are 1-3. To baseball, the Nationals clean house, firing manager Matt Williams and the entire coaching staff. GM Mike Rizzo says it was a tough day for the franchise.
So these are the first of the decisions that we felt needed to make as we meticulously evaluate why the 2015 season didn't go the way we had hoped.
The day before the Yankees playoff game against the Astros in the Bronx, CC Sabathia said goodbye to his team and checked into an alcohol rehab center. CC has the full support of his teammates like Alex Rodriguez and Brian McCann.
He's our brother. He has our unconditional support, and he's going to come back next year stronger than ever.
We're glad he's getting help, and no one knew anything about it.
NHL news, San Jose Sharks forward Rafi Torres suspended 41 games for an illegal check to the head in a preseason game. Todd Ant, ABC Sports.
We do have sports. I don't know how you can elaborate on what those guys are saying, but it is kind of an exciting day today in that the Major League Baseball postseason begins. After 6 long, grueling months and 162 games, we're down to the final 8 teams, I think.
I can't believe Texas wins the division. Houston is in the wild card.
Yeah. Angels miss out. And, of course, Oakland and Seattle are way distant. Way back.
Way back.
Didn't even sniff it. So the American League wild card game is tonight. It is in New York. It is the Yankees playing for a chance to take their 28th pennant, the 28th World Championship. But to do that, they have to beat the Houston Astros in a one-game series tonight. Houston, one of the more surprising teams of the season. There's been a lot of disappointing teams, but they were a good surprise. During the regular year, 7 times the two teams met. Astros won 4 out of the 7. 20-game winner Dallas Keuchel on the hill for the Houston Astros tonight. And 12-game winner Masahiro Tanaka for the Yanks. I think we want to root for Houston just because it's such a good story, and they're part of our division.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yankees.
Although those guys are the Yankees. Now, the National League wild card game is tomorrow night. That'll be in Pittsburgh. The Pirates will entertain the Cubs, and fans will see a great pitching matchup for that one as well. 22-game winner Jake Arrieta, and the Cubs go against the 19-game winner Garrett Cole. So a couple of good games happening in baseball. In football, in case you missed the game last night, the Seahawks held off the Lions, kind of, sort of. 13-10, the final. Lions poised to take the lead with under 2 minutes left when Cam Chancellor punches the ball free from Calvin Johnson at the 1-yard line as he was running in and secured the Seahawks' second straight win since their 0-2 start. That's the official recount of the story. We won't say anything about the bad call that was made subsequent to that. And Joe Philbin, Miami's coach, he's out. He's gone. And that's that.
So, I have no real vested interest in Miami other than they were on that Hard Knocks show a couple seasons ago.
Right.
Isn't it amazing how you kind of get on with that kind of deal just because you saw them work through the preseason?
Yeah.
It's the same way I feel with Houston now.
Yeah.
I could care less, and I don't want to see them, beat Seattle in any stretch of the imagination, but it's fun because now I know a little bit of the backstory.
You know a little bit about him.
Yeah.
So you kind of want to root for him.
A more personal level.
Yeah.
Those shows are great.
Oh, they are.
And that Miami Dolphins one, that was that year that the incognito scandal.
Oh, geez. Yeah. They've had problems.
For him to survive that year was, I think...
Philbin.
Yeah. Good for Philbin. All right. 53 now, clear skies, and it's a beautiful sunrise.
It is. Gorgeous. The sky is ablaze this morning.
53 now clear, 67 the high today. Rain coming during the overnight, and tomorrow 62 with a 1/4 inch of rain. This weekend will be wet with likely Friday, Saturday, Sunday each a 3/4 inch rain.
It's Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Join the guys as they talk with neighbors, newsmakers, and each other, getting your day off to the absolute best possible start in the history of mornings. Connect with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line, by email, or Facebook. Now, from somewhere in the wilderness of the Olympic Peninsula, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
All right, good morning to you, 7:15 at KMAS and KMAS.com. We're real happy to have a great guest in studio, great guy, Under Sheriff Jim Barrett for the Mason County Sheriffs. And morning, sir.
Good morning to you. Yeah, welcome to the show. Thank you. Under Sheriff Barrett, and we're going to talk a little bit about jail, the county jail up at the courthouse, how jail space is, the current status of the jail, the outsourcing of inmates, which is an expense, and some of the other costs because of lack of space. So I guess we just give you the green light and let you go. Where would you like to start this conversation at?
Well, I think it's important, and thank you for having me. I think it's important for the citizens and the audience out here to get a real good idea of how we got to where we're at right now. So a little bit of context is important. In the early 80s, our jail was built to replace the aging 3rd floor jail in the courthouse. So through some state funds, the new jail was built. Unfortunately, the new jail was built for 45 inmates, which was the exact same amount of inmates that was in the old 3rd floor of the courthouse.
So no expansion.
No expansion. For the past 3 decades nearly, we've had 2 major studies commissioned either by the board or others to review our jail, the National Institute of Corrections and another private association that came in and looked at the jail. In both situations, they said, your jail's too small. It's, you do not have the space for your community. There was a remodel done that increased our current capacity from 45 to 74 beds in our current jail. And then former Sheriff Steve Wyvark was able to secure some money that added a direct support unit. That served the community for a period of time. However, that direct support unit had to be shut down during the recession because we just did not have the amount of funding to run the jail operation. Since that time, that has been remodeled to put in more, violent offenders, and we've taken it from an open campus type of format to actually cells. Once that is complete, and that started at the end of last year, once that is complete, we should have a total capacity of 124 inmates in our jail.
Okay.
The reason we've had to outsource, so there's your background. The reason we've had to outsource is a couple things. We had a reduction in some of our staff due to either voluntary retirements or other people leaving to go to other counties or cities for employment. We had a female population that got large enough that the number of female corrections officers that we didn't have the proper legal ratio that we need to have. So we had to outsource those inmates to the Nisqually jail. We also have some long-term commits, people who have been sentenced who are just finishing off their county time, have gone to Forks. They don't need to come back to court, things like that. So our average daily population right now as it stands, even if we moved everybody back from Nisqually or Forks, and not pay the outsourcing fees, we're already full again. So we're at 130, so we're already 6 over our capacity. So that means we're right back to where we were again. And we don't expand the footprint of the jail, we keep building internally. And that's the same as if when you got married and you bought a 2-bedroom home and you had twins, and so the twins take the 2-bedroom, and then a couple years later, you go to buy a 3-bedroom home and your spouse is pregnant again. And now you've just traded a house and increased no capacity. And then your in-laws move in with you because they're out of space. And then the uncle comes in. So you have to put up another room, and then you convert your garage. There's the situation we've run into our jail. We just can't get there.
So there's no more room to build any more additional. What does it mean legally for just 6 people over capacity or any number over the 124 inmates? Does that cause any problems at the jail? I mean, so you have to do the outsourcing. Are you guys getting dinged from anybody because of that?
Legally, there is an acknowledgement that if you're at capacity and there's a busy weekend, you could end up with 5 to 10 fresh arrests. Mm-hmm. There's a 72-hour period of time in which those people could be held on what we call boats, but they're basically plastic beds that we put on the floor. The idea is, though, is to get them arraigned, get them before the judge, and or find other people who might be eligible for release, whether that's an early release or not. And the judges and our jail chief, they work through that with the prosecutor. But you can exceed your capacity for short periods of time. Here's another contextual statement of our problem. It's not so much having an overage, it's about officer safety, inmate safety. That's a very, very big issue. And the more people you put in a small little bottle, okay, and these are people that have significant, violent histories, they have mental health issues, they have substance abuse issues, and just in general, they have issues. And that's why they're there in many cases. You put all those people together, it poses safety problems. It poses our ability to administer medical services to them, mental health services to them, all those issues. So that's why we had to outsource, because we are over capacity. And if you go back to 2006 and 2007, prior to the recession, our jail was running at average daily populations of 150 to 160. Wow. Okay, that's just not right. So this has been an ongoing theme.
Is the percentage of prisoners in relationship to the overall population of the county in line with national statistics, or are you arresting more than an average amount of people?
I don't think we are arresting any more. You have to understand that we have a great group of law enforcement officers out there in all of our agencies, whether they're the county deputies, the city officers, our tribal officers, the state patrol troopers. We have a very good cadre. DOC works well. The citizens have hired these people to go out and detect criminal activity, protect private property, protect people from injury. They're not out looking what we call proactive patrol because they know that most likely they can't affect an arrest. We have thousands of warrants that have been issued, and our deputies can't take affirmative action. So they're responding to 911 calls. We're a reactive type of system,
right?
Though we would like to be proactive. That being said, we're no different than most of the other communities. A week ago, you heard our regional sheriffs all talk about jail capacities and the issues and the effect that if the Justice Reinvestment Initiative occurs, how that will flood an even further and overburdened system. So what we're trying to say is the outsourcing is an immediate fix to a long-term problem. We've been tasked to find out what is the immediate issue we can deal with, what is an intermediate 3 to 5 year window, and what is the long-term strategies. And we're working with the board and the criminal justice system to do that. But if I've got a jail right now that holds a capacity of 24 female inmates, but I've got over 30 female inmates incarcerated, I don't see how I bring them back.
Right.
We may find ourselves having to outsource female inmates for the long haul and using our current facility for what we're doing. Yeah. And so I know there was some points brought up as why don't we, if Nisqually has an average charge of $65 a day plus your $20 booking, one-time booking fee, and Forks is $45 a day. The logical question for a lot of people out there is, well, why don't we just send all of our inmates out and pay the lower rates? Our jail service is about $91. Thurston is in the 120, Kitsap's up in the 120. Most of the other counties of our size are in that 90 to high 90s range. The reason we can't do that is those other jails get to pick and choose who will come into their facility.
Oh.
So we can only send low-tier offenders, sentence offenders. The people that are currently in our jail right now are some very serious violent offenders. We have several homicide suspects, a lot of people who have, how should I say, been frequent flyers in the system for years, okay? And they're in there for a reason. Most of the jails won't take those, so we can't outsource.
Okay.
And so you have people with significant mental health issues. At least 25% of our population have some form of mental health issue. 80 to 90% of our inmate population has substance abuse issues. Another significant portion have significant medical, dental, or vision issues, which we, the county citizens, the sheriff, is responsible for paying. So if you're in another jail, you're not going to inherit those kinds of high-risk issues. So you'll take low-tier offenders. So that's why we're limited and we can't just outsource everybody. Plus, you got your daily routines that they have to be in court, they have to meet with their counsel, they have to do all the other day-to-day business, fresh arrests. You have to maintain a jail in your county.
Is there any capacity and is there any ability to borrow space or designate space at the correction center here in the county?
No, it actually works the opposite way. We can't take jail or people who have been sentenced to jail and send them to a prison. It's a sentencing range issue within the legal system. However, prisons can lease jail space, and jails sometimes will rent out space to the state.
Okay.
One of the problems we have is even the state, WCC, is in an overcrowded situation, and I understand in talking and that they've recently been in talks with Michigan to lease out up to 1,500 beds because the state doesn't have it, which goes back to the governor's justice reinvestment. The states has the same issue that that most county jails have. It's overcrowding. And ours has been at least 2 decades old, if not going on 3. And that's where we're trying to prepare the citizens to say, what's your vision for Mason County? I mean, what do you want to tolerate? And we always say, what you're willing to tolerate, you better be willing to accept. So,
man. So I got a question for you about some of the types of inmates in the jail. When it comes to drug abuse or mental health, we've talked a lot on the air about drug court, the startings of veterans courts. Are you guys internally thinking of reevaluating some of the sentences for people in there now? It sounds like it's slowly becoming the worst of the worst of the worst. If you can't really if they only want to take low-level offenders in certain areas, the worst and the worst and the worst are in the jail. When the low-level drug offenders are in there, is there talk that you guys are changing maybe the sentencing structure of that or anything like that?
I know there's discussions at levels that are outside the sheriff's office. The sheriff's responsible with his staff for housing those inmates who the courts have sentenced while working with the prosecution as a part of the whole system. So we take whatever happens from the courts.
Sure.
That being said, I think you're spot on. If we think that just plain incarceration is the long-term answer, we're kidding ourselves. I've read a lot of articles, and we need, as a county and as a system, to start to embrace what many of the other states and or cities and or counties have done. The therapeutic courts, which would be drug court, your veterans court, and mental health court. Mm-hmm. There's also DUI courts that are specific sentencing issues. And I really don't want to step on the judge's toes because that is their bailiwick. I'm not in any way, shape, or form in their area. But we have to start looking at alternatives. Those therapeutic courts, they require additional staff. They require additional things to run and administer. But we have to, like you said, we have to take first-time offenders and low-tier offenders, find a way to hold them accountable for their crimes against people without incarcerating them in what we call, long-term or seasoned criminals. So the sheriff and his staff are absolutely behind that model of alternative to sentencing, using litter crews, community service, finding people who may have anywhere from a week to 10 days left on their sentence, let them finish their sentence in an alternative capacity and allow more space for fresh intakes to come in. There's some things that would have to be hammered out, but we are no different than any other county in our surrounding areas. We're no different than anybody else in the state. We're going to have to do things differently. We're still going to have larger incarceration space because the county is growing.
That's my last question to you. So you're not quite finished with this remodel job. You're at overcapacity. This gets finished up, and now you're still kind of facing the same issue you had before you started. Is there designs on another location within the county for another facility, or where do we go from here, Jim? How do you expand your capacity?
There's going to be a couple things. The therapeutic courts will alleviate some of the stress, but they're going to take 2 to 3 years to get up and running and become efficient. But that's not the cure-all. Work source is not the cure-all. Alternatives is not the cure-all. The system needs probably space for 180 to 200 people. So as part of the long-term planning, we've identified some county property, but this, of course, is just the sheriff's looking into things. It takes more of the county to look at it. But there's property up near the landfill and the prison. It is large enough. There's an infrastructure in place up there through water systems, it's industrial zoned. It's got a prison, a landfill. It's got the State Patrol Academy, a racetrack. There is a location that could be utilized. So the county has the property, it has the infrastructure. You'll have to go to the citizens to say, what do you want to do from here? What is the next 30-year fix to the issue? The state is looking to house inmates. If they're going to pay Michigan to house inmates, Why not, as Nisqually has done, build one large enough and then lease out the beds?
Yeah.
At least there's a revenue offset that if you bring in enough outsourced inmates above what you need internally in the county, lease out that space, it helps pay those bond payments or the other costs of your jail operations. And as the county needs more space, you absorb more space. So there's ways to do this, whether we talk with Grays Harbor or some of the other counties and go regional. You heard what happened to Thurston County. They built a facility and they spent $60 million keeping it empty for several years.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So we want to learn from their mistakes and do it properly. And I think Nisqually has current capacity of 370 beds when they build their new facility. They're already starting to consider breaking more ground to lease out more space.
Wow.
Everybody's looking. So I believe there is a long-term plan, and that's in that 3 to 5 year window, but there's a lot of work that has to be done. It just goes back to what do we want to do for this community? And the sheriff and the chiefs of police have all said, it's about developing a vision and a mission for a safe and prosperous community to allow people to move into this community, to send their kids to the schools, to invest downtown in a business or out in the county. And that's how you start to change that whole dynamics of where we're at. And you know, one last thing, just to give people just a snapshot. We did a 30-day sample, our deputies did, and we said, during the course of your regular business, if you come across a contact and they have a warrant, but you can't take action on that warrant because of the jail status, just keep track of it. In a 30-day window, we came across 45 warrants that our deputies could not take action on because of jail space.
1 month.
That's not now. You had the city, the 2 tribal agencies, the state patrol, and they didn't even get sampled in that. So we know over the year, there's probably 700 to 800 warrants that can't have any action taken. We got to remember that those warrants were issued because somebody committed a crime against somebody. And we're about accountability. But the accountability is just not incarceration. It's these other programs in conjunction with increased capacity for incarceration. So it's a long-term,
it's a complex
big problem.
issue, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Yeah. Man, and no simple, quick fixes. Would this end up in front of the voters, like maybe a new facility in the county?
I think it's going to absolutely have to.
Is that the route it would have to take to have any meat to it?
You follow the models of the other counties, and they've had to go before the people and lay out the plan. If this is where you want your community to be, this is what, you know, our expert opinion is on how to deal with that. So the people are ultimately going to be asked to consider this to build a new building. We hope we do it smartly. We hope we do it effectively and efficiently, and that we have a model in place that shows that even if you do this, the revenue that could be generated by leasing it out to other agencies that need it would help offset your bond payment, making it a facility for the long haul.
Yeah.
So, but it does have to go before the people.
Thank you so much for your time and your thoughtful comments. We appreciate it. We appreciate all you do, and come back again.
Thank you very much.
All right. Under Sheriff Jim Barrett from the Mason County Sheriff's Office. It is a little past 7:30. Quick break. We'll go right to Mary Lynn Foster with some news, sports, weather, and a lot of Tuesday still ahead, including our debate coming up in about a half an hour from right now.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Local news is brought to you by Fred Holmes Tree Service. FredHolmesTreeService.com, 427-4489.
For KMAS Newsradio.com, I'm Mary Lynn Foster. Mason County leaders might crack down on neglected residential properties left in disrepair, used by vagrants, littered with junk cars, or overrun with rodents. The county commissioners yesterday discussed that possibility and the prospect of hiring an enforcement officer who would be responsible for monitoring derelict homes and properties. During the meeting, Commissioner Tim Sheldon said the abatement issues are out of control and called for an open season on criminals in Mason County.
And that's what you have to get to drive down this stuff, because it's coming from, a lot of it's coming from these houses that are either abandoned or derelict. they're a nest of criminals who, that's where the drive-by shooting occurred here out of Golden Pheasant Road, and that's a dump. There's a dump out there on the Nelson property along Holiday Beach, right along the water. That's awful. The one that I see going down Purdy Canyon, the top of Purdy Canyon, is expanded.
Sheldon says there are more than 1,300 cases of derelict residential properties in the county that need to be cleaned up. No action was taken at the briefing session, but the commissioners directed Support Services Director Bill Kenny to write up a proposal for consideration. KMAS News Radio is hosting 2 debates and a candidates forum. The first debate between City of Shelton Commissioner Mike Olson and his challenger Kathy McDowell is this morning at 8 a.m. on Daybreak. The second debate will be between City of Shelton Mayor Gary Krantz and his challenger Marilyn Vogler. That'll be on Tuesday, October 13th at 8 a.m. on Daybreak. KMAS News Radio will also be hosting a political forum on Tuesday evening, October 20th at 6 p.m. at the Mason Transit Community Center in Shelton. Candidates running for local offices, Mayor of Shelton, Commissioner of Finance and Accounting, Port of Shelton Commissioner, and 4 positions on the Shelton School Board will be at the forum. You're invited to attend in person at Mason Transit Community Center or listen to our live broadcast on KMAS AM 1030, FM 103.3, or online at KMAS.com. Nighttime drivers traveling on eastbound State Route 16 across the Tacoma Narrows Bridge should plan for 2 nights of lane closures tonight and tomorrow night as crews perform annual toll equipment maintenance. Before starting work at the toll plaza each night, crews will close the on-ramp from 24th Street Northwest to eastbound State Route 16 at 8 p.m. Crews will then close all of the good-to-go electronic toll lanes by 10 p.m. I'm Marilyn Foster, and you're listening to the latest news on KMAS AM 1030 at FM 103.3 and online at KMAS.com.
Habitat for Humanity of Mason County invites you to shop their local retail stores in Belfair and in Shelton. Construction volunteers are needed. Whether you're a construction professional or novice, Habitat for Humanity needs you. Give them a call or visit their website, and when you shop Habitat for Humanity, your dollars are put to work helping to improve, build, and maintain affordable housing right here in Mason County. Habitat for Humanity. Let's build a strong community together.
Mason PUD3 invites you to put your best foot forward Sunday, October 4th, by taking part in the 5K Shuck and Share Run. The fun begins at 8 a.m. at the Huff and Puff Trail across from Shelton High School. Register at any PUD3 office or online at masonpud3.org. Proceeds support Project Share, which helps hundreds of low-income families with their electric bills. Learn more at masonpud3.org.
For Newsradio 1030 KMAS Shelton, FM 103.3, period.
Full stop.
And KMAS.com. We are audio and video this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Right next to the Robinson Cano poster that you can't see. But he was the 12th man flag guy.
Nelson.
No, Nelson Cruz was. Where's his poster?
I don't think we have a...
We got Michael Saunders. That's no good anymore, right?
For the Mariners? We ain't got nothing.
Nothing for Nelson Cruz. The Cruiser, they were going Cruz.
Are you sure it wasn't booze for that abysmal performance by the
end,
Seahawks?
I'll tell you what. I thought,
they went to the Super Bowl last year, right? The
yes,
Seahawks?
Yes, they did.
And
Detroit
Detroit hasn't won anything, right?
No.
Okay.
But I'll tell you what.
Time for that.
Seattle Seahawks have some work to do. They are 2-2 this morning. They did win by the skin of their chinny chin chin.
Jeez.
13-10, the final last night, as Detroit was rambling across the goal line, and Cam Chancellor knocks the ball free and through the end zone. Touchback, safety, whatever the call was, it was a safety, and game over. Pretty much about a minute and a half left, and Seattle got a first down, ran out the clock. Pretty crazy stuff. Pretty crazy finish. During the course of the game, Seattle's offense was woeful. Now, Marshawn Lynch was out, but that doesn't excuse the fact that Russell Wilson ran for his life all night long.
Mm-hmm.
2 lost fumbles by Russell Wilson, one of which got run back for a touchdown. The defense only gave up a field goal. As a matter of fact, in the last 2 games combined, the Seattle defense has given up 1 field goal and has caused 18 punts in 20 plays. Pretty amazing. Good defense.
Yeah.
Good. Special teams, probably a B+ over the season, although we did chunk one last night. Gave up a fumble. But that offensive line, or their assignments, or understanding the scheme, or, I saw some young guys go the wrong way on hot reads where Russell Wilson reads a blitz coming, and he interprets it as a hot read so that this particular receiver has to see that same thing. They don't communicate it. They just see it and recognize it, and then he's got to be looking for the pass real quick. And 2 times that I remember, Russell threw to a receiver that hadn't even turned around yet.
Ooh.
Didn't see the hot read. So there's communication issues.
It's like a hot mess.
And I'll tell you what, that offense, it's got some serious issues. And they play the Cincinnati Bengals next week in Cincinnati at 10 o'clock in the morning.
And Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton is lighting them up, baby. And they have already said long before the Seattle game, they will not lose their first postseason game this season. They're already planning on going into the playoffs.
Oh, and I don't doubt it.
And they've had a record of losing in the postseason. And they've already are addressing that as early as last week. So Cincinnati's playing some ball. And Seattle's got to start paying attention. And that's all I got to say about that.
Well, 7:43, and the sunrise was just beautiful this morning, and it is continuing to be a pretty nice morning here. Tonight, though, we'll see some clouds roll in and likely a little bit of rain during the overnight, leading us into a 1/4 inch of rain tomorrow. Fertilized my lawn yesterday. Should have about 24 hours before the heavy rains come. So you can do
Perfect
it today.
timing then. Yeah.
Or you can also do it on Thursday, leading up to a very wet weekend. So if you're planning on doing a fall fertilize yesterday,
today,
not today, obviously you can't do it yesterday.
No.
But you could do
only
it.
We could.
Today would be a good day. Maybe not tomorrow, because it'll likely be raining.
But kind of a light rain. I mean, you could get away.
You could get away with it. But today, Wednesday, Thursday, and that'll give you and set you up to a great fall, winter. Really get those grass roots strong.
It's Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Join the guys as they talk with neighbors, newsmakers, and each other, getting your day off to the absolute best possible start in the history of mornings. Connect with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line, by email or Facebook. Now, from the capital of the great state of Washington, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
Also, a reminder, if you plan on doing a lawn care treatment with some sort of a fertilizer that kills things like broadleaf or dandelions, grass like that,
yeah.
I wouldn't recommend also seeding in the same area, right? Because the fertilizers will often kill burn the grass seeds.
Yeah, and they're fragile when they're starting out too.
Yeah.
As well.
But
is this even a good time to put grass seed in?
I would before we get to now. I do see a little bit of another trend of dry days next week. But you just have to make sure that you maintain a kind of a wet area for 2 weeks for the grass to get a good handle on itself.
Good foothold there.
Mm-hmm. So that's
interesting.
Throw that out to you.
Well, we talked about a couple of things that were going on in the news. One is this class action suit against LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
We'll try to shed a little bit more light on that here later on this morning. And also, we have coming up for your listening enjoyment, the debate that is going to happen here in about 20 minutes. And we have Mike Olson and Kathleen, help me out here.
McDowell.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's happens.
Kathleen McDowell, and they are both running for Commissioner of Finance and Accounting, and they will be in studio live with our two moderators. That would be myself and Jeff.
Oh, hey.
And we will be asking some questions and digging into some of the issues that we think are important to the voters coming up here on the election on the 3rd of November. So stick around for that. Next Tuesday morning at the same time, we will be addressing the two candidates in the mayoral race in Shelton. It is the 6th of October, and significant events, looking to see if there's any Halloween type stuff that happened. And so far, I've got nothing for you.
So no Halloween.
No Halloween events of any significance this early in the month.
Have you gotten any Halloween candy yet?
I have not. How about you?
No, surprisingly no.
Yeah, usually a bag and a half in by now, aren't you?
Personally, I am a bag and a half in.
Well, so, anything in the line of decorations hanging in the Slakey household windows or anything yet?
Not yet. And I'm probably going to hate myself for doing this, but there are 5 weekends in October. So I've been telling myself, well, I have an extra weekend to get decorations up because Halloween's a Saturday night.
Yeah, you're right.
So I didn't put anything up this past weekend, and I don't want one of the things that we'll put up are spider webs. And if it gets too wet and windy, the spider webs just go all over the place. So I'm kind of holding off on these major decorations until the end. Saw Kaiser's costume. Grandma is working very hard.
And he's going as
Raggedy Andy. Raggedy Andy.
Okay.
I think I was a Raggedy Andy as a youth myself.
Sure. I could see that.
Yeah. My mother is having a great time getting this thing ready.
Kaiser's grandmother. So that's a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. That's good. And then you're dressing up for Halloween?
No.
I have
found more enjoyment just standing by the door and offering up candy and being very excited for all the kids and really showing them a good time. And the parents.
What about the ones that you were scaring last year?
Well, most of the kids a good time, except for the ones who didn't come up. The parents, though, they appreciate it. You know, you kind of really get involved with the kids and show some interest.
Yeah.
Give them each a little bit of personal attention.
How about the spooky dry ice machine? You got that? Is that going to go forward, or are we going to shelve that plan?
I'll probably end up getting one. You got to get come on. You got to get a fog machine.
I think a fog machine is part of Halloween. I mean, there's really no way to get around that, is there?
What's today here? Tuesday the 6th? Did you even find... Oh, there it is. My history went from the 5th to the 7th.
So did mine. I haven't found the 6th. I'm going over to AP.
Here we go. 7:48 at KMAS. We'll take a break. We've found the historical events. We'll talk about those. Oh, my gosh. It's a disco duck kind of day.
All right.
Rick Dees and his cast of idiots.
Hold on. What?
Gold record with Rick Dees.
Oh, yeah.
I think Marty Robbins was in a wreck at the National 500 Shot Car Race.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Planning a wedding, throwing a holiday party? Maybe tired of spending hours cooking holiday meals for that big family of yours? Call Robin Hood Catering. At Robin Hood Catering, they want you to have the experience of a wonderfully cooked meal without the hassle, on location or hosted in their historic dining room. Appetizers, meals, desserts, and more. Visit RobinHoodVillageResort.com or call 360-898-2163.
To those who say, just as the sun rises in the east, so too must breakfast be enjoyed in the morning. McDonald's now says, yeah, we don't really agree with that. Introducing McDonald's new all-day breakfast menu. Now you can get a hot and freshly made Egg McMuffin sandwich, hash browns, and other delectable breakfast tastes day and night. It's time to start enjoying the breakfast you love anytime you wish. Breakfast items vary by location. Deliciousness doesn't.
Some people say it's an excellent source of antioxidants.
And it tastes great.
Others say it can actually lower stress and soothe your senses.
And it tastes great.
It's even been said to reduce high blood pressure.
And it tastes great.
It's McCafe iced green tea, and it's brewed fresh daily with simple ingredients. So come into your locally owned and operated Northwest McDonald's and enjoy a delicious cup any time of day.
Hey!
And yes, as you might have already heard, it tastes great.
Thank you.
Price of participation may vary.
Saturday, October 24th is the next free women's health event presented by Mason General Hospital and Family of Clinics from 8 a.m. till noon at the hospital's main entrance. Women of all ages are invited to come during Breast Cancer Awareness Month to a women's health forum that includes free diabetes and blood pressure checks, information on women's health, mini massages, refreshments, and more. There will also be free mammograms for the first 50 qualifying women who are uninsured or underinsured. It's a great time to be a woman. Come out and celebrate.
Mason General Hospital and Family of Clinics. Equal opportunity provider. Translation services provided.
Mason General and Family of Clinics.
Take KMAS wherever you go with our new free KMAS mobile app. It's a free download from either your Apple or Android device. Check out the latest news and even listen wherever you have a signal. Search KMAS in your app store and download our free KMAS app today.
Hi, this is Jason Dose with the City of Shelton, and you're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
All right, 7:52 here at KMAS, KMAS.com. Two stories. First, quickly, the fire at 10th and Railroad yesterday was at approximately 5:01. This is the latest information we have from Chief Tim McCurran. Started in the kitchen. Firefighters got 2 of the 3 people out, but the third was unable to be rescued. This person trapped on the second floor, cause under investigation. Survivors were sent to St. Pete's to be checked out. All are okay. Red Cross notified to help out the family. The responders were districts 5, 4, and 11. Also the Shelton Police, the State Patrol, and the PUD number 3. So that's the latest information that we have on that. Now moving topics here. Fishtails Beyond. Fishtail Ale is a place in Olympia, Fish Brewing Company, downtown. It's where they have the old Olympia Brewery. 5 o'clock. Pull the thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's quitting time.
Quitting time.
They took it over from when the brewery when Miller did their shenanigans from Olympia Beer.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it was back to the story.
Fishtail Ale.
Fishtail Ales Beyond the Pale Ale, produced right here in the South Sound in Olympia, was named the 2015 World's Best Beer.
Shut the door.
By World Beer Awards. Now, to receive this award, the beer was first judged in a regional heat. Won that one.
Yeah.
Winners from all regions, then including Asia and Europe, then tasted against other select of the world's best. From these world winners,
world's best ales.
The world's best category beers were selected. Wow. Over 1,000 beers from more than 30 countries entered into this year's competition. And so obviously to come out on top is quite an achievement. Judges blind tasted and scored the entries over 4 rounds. Final 2 rounds held in London, where 50 international brewers, experts, and journalists tastes and voted. Judges named Fishtail Ales Beyond the Pale as the USA winner.
Wow.
America's winner.
Whoa.
The world's best style winner. The world's best pale. And ultimately the world's best beer.
That is amazing. Congratulations, Fishtail Ales.
In addition to taking the top honors, they were also awarded with America's Best Black IPA for their Real Ales Swordfish Double Cascadian Dark Ale.
You can't order that after 2.
Whatever I just had.
Black one.
And the Leavenworth Boulder Bend Dunkelweizen won America's Best Dark Wheat Ale.
Man, we are making a name for ourselves in the beer game.
Hey-o! They also make those organic. They make a bunch of organic ales and The fish has been around forever. 1993. Owned by over 400 beer-drinking consumers who pooled their resources into building a landmark brewery.
What better place to do that in the shadow of the Olympia Beer Brewery
with
Company.
its quality water and artesian wells.
Oh, my word. That is awesome. Carrying on the tradition of fine beer here in the South Sound region. That's amazing. You know, back in the day, it used to be Ole or Brew 66. That was it. That's your choices.
And then they came out with Ole Dark and Ole Gold.
Oh, my gosh. And then Holy Ole.
Holy Ole.
So congratulations to the Fishtails. That is awesome. That is just a terrific acknowledgement. And, you know, if you're in that craft, job well done. You can't get any better being the world's champion.
No.
You know, unless some kind of intergalactic competition going on.
Sure.
And I've never noticed a big beer belly on any of those Martians.
No, the grays are very svelte. We could ask Art Bell tonight at midnight.
Yes.
Call him. On midnight.
Call him and ask him about that. Hey, do those Martians drink?
So Beyond the Pale. So head to your local place and try it and say, I just had the best beer in the world.
Yeah, world-class beverage here. Thank you very much.
That's actually pretty huge. Because you always think of like the German, maybe not German, that was kind of an assumption, but the monks. Belgian, there we go. That's less. The Belgian monks, you know, who are up in their monasteries.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. They brew beer, and they've been doing it for centuries.
And all they have to do is pray and hope that this is the best that they've ever done.
And usually those are the guys that come away with these big awards. But right down the road, Olympia. You know, I will say they also have pretty good food there.
Okay.
I wish their soda selection. I mean, this is for me now.
Picky. Okay.
They don't have any soda.
Well,
they don't have soda on tap.
If you're going to Fishtail Ales, if it was everybody but Jeff, they're all in there for a beer. They're not in there for a soda.
Well, once again, we come back to what's happening at the Lucky Eagle. They're having a big beer festival, and DDs get in for free. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Make an accommodation.
Yes, you're right. And the very important element to any good celebration is a designated driver.
Right. All right. 8 o'clock, stay tuned. We have a big debate between the Commissioner of Finance, Mike Olson, and his challenger, Kathy McDowell. And that's huge. Just after the news here on KMAS.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Fashion mavens we are not, but we love to keep our eyes on the trendsetters. It's a look at the fashion forecast for the upcoming season from the Old Farmer's Almanac.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency. Do you know the #1 cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-790-9836. That's 1-800-790-9836. Call 1-800-790-9836.
With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report for Tuesday, October 6th, the 279th day of the year. The fall colors in New York State were buried in white on this day in 1846. The Finger Lakes region was treated to an early snowfall of 26 inches. When it comes to fashion trends, we admit to being a little behind the curve, but it's still fun to see what the trendsetters will be sporting this fall and winter. It looks like the 1970s will be back in a big way. Suede leather, turtlenecks, and psychedelic prints are said to be the look for the season. Flared trousers will be everywhere, along with some Victorian touches like frilly blouses and puffy sleeves. Can't make up your mind which colors and textures suit you? You're in luck. Wild patchwork designs incorporating mismatched fabrics will also be in vogue. There's your Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. Learn more at almanac.com.
The Dave Ramsey Show is live from noon to 3, weekdays on 1030 KMAS Shelton, FM 102.1, and now in Thurston County on 92.9.
ABC News, I'm Karen Chase. Stranded in South Carolina, The rain is over, but the crisis continues after historic flooding that washed out over 500 roads. ABC's Alex Perez says the lingering water is leaving many residents cut off.
They are finally waking up without rain here in Columbia, South Carolina, after a weekend where it seemed the rain would never end. But they are still not in the clear. The big concern now, the swollen rivers, the 4 rivers in this area swollen to a level they haven't seen in about 80 years.
More flooding and evacuations are possible. The search is resuming off the Bahamas for possible survivors from a missing cargo ship presumed to have gone down in a hurricane. As the NTSB investigates, ABC's Lindsay Janis tells us crew member families are asking why the ship wasn't diverted.
The U.S. Coast Guard and the company that owns the Alfaro briefed family of the crew for about 3.5 hours. Many of the family members angry, asking a lot of questions of that company. The company simply saying the captain had a lot of latitude. He decided his course of action. He thought he could bypass the storm. He ran into mechanical trouble and was unable to do so.
The FAA is slapping a drone operator with a nearly $2 million fine for operating unmanned aircraft in busy, restricted airspace in New York and Chicago, including near airports. Fantasy football is under fire. Critics claim insider trading makes it an uneven playing field. ABC legal analyst Royal Oakes explains.
Fantasy sports leagues aren't synonymous with scandal, but that could be changing. It's claimed some employees are putting down bets that are based on information that's not available to the public.
We will overcome this crisis, Volkswagen CEO Matthias Muller told employees, saying the company has a strong foundation. He also said the emissions test cheating scandal goes against everything the company stands for. If you're looking for a long-term pep in your step, inventors of a new peanut butter laced with caffeine say steam is the answer. They say it unleashes the time-release jolt of 2 cups of coffee, giving you sustained energy. This is ABC News.
Are you working so hard to make a living you can't take time to make any real money? Is every day the same boring routine going nowhere and money runs out before the month? Well, my name is Ron LeGrand, and for over 30 years now, I've been helping clients take their life back by buying and selling houses with no money, credit, experience, or licenses. If you call 800-350-0255, 24 hours, and leave a message, I'll send you my new book and CD absolutely free so you can see how. I've bought hundreds of houses and trained thousands to do the same. Call 800-350-0255 to get your free starter kit until 500 are given away. You'll learn how to make a full-time income on a part-time basis without risk, largely tax-free, and get 90% of the work done for you for pennies. That's 800-350-0255. Again, 800-350-0255. Call now and take your life back.
You asked for it, you got it. McDonald's will now serve breakfast food no matter what time of day it is. But ABC's Dave Packer tells us there are exceptions.
McDonald's has already been testing all-day breakfast here in New York and other select markets around the country. Since kitchens will have to make other meals simultaneously, decisions had to be made as to what to serve and what not to serve. In most of the country, that means come lunchtime, McMuffins, but not biscuit sandwiches. But not in most of the South, where biscuits are more popular. A line from Louisiana to Tennessee to West Virginia, marking the border of the biscuit belt. No McMuffins below it. Dave Packer, ABC News, New York.
If you're a jack-o'-lantern fan, you'll be happy to know crop experts are predicting a decent pumpkin crop. They say there should be enough pumpkins for Halloween, but because of heavy rain that washed out some crops in June, it was a small yield, and supplies of canned pumpkin could be scarce come Thanksgiving time. Their best advice? Buy it whenever you see it hit the store, if you like it. Karen Chase, ABC News.
Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Join the guys as they talk with neighbors, newsmakers, and each other, getting your day off to the absolute best possible start in the history of mornings. Connect with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line, by email or Facebook. Now from the shores of Hood Canal, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
It is 8:04. On Daybreak with Jeff and Dale, and we welcome you to the show. We're going to dispense with local news, sports, and weather, and we're going to jump right into a very special program this morning. Our first ever live on-air debate between City of Shelton Commissioner of Finance and Accounting candidates, Kathy McDowell. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
And Mike Olson. Good morning.
Hi there.
All right. I had to get that all spit out.
Thank you.
You did well.
All right. And welcome both of you, and thank you for participating in this morning. We have not a lot of structure to the next 25 minutes or so. If you feel like you are compelled to respond to what the other candidate has said or is saying, you can, as long as it doesn't get too, we want you to be respectful to one another and not cut each other off. But you are, this is kind of a free form type of a format, and we are not going to structure you with time limits or anything like that in your responses or your answers. Is that fair enough?
Fair enough.
Yes.
All right, we're going to start out with Kathy first and then Mike. And so the same question to open up the event here this morning. You are running for Commissioner of Finance and Accounting, and specifically, Kathy, what is your own personal experience in finance and accounting that makes you qualified for this position?
Well, I ran a small business in my home for 20 plus years. Just a small in-home business. So I'm qualified there to, as far as finances go, not large finances, smaller scale finances. I've had a lot of experience in customer service and dealing with the public. I worked for the city for 15 years. And so I'm good at listening and relaying my answers.
Mike, same question for you. Your specific personal experience in finance and accounting that makes you qualified for this position.
Besides the fact that I've been doing it for 4 years on a city level, experience matters in that case. Also, for 35 years, I've ran a successful general contracting business where I've dealt with resources anywhere from $100,000 to $500,000 when building custom homes. During that course of building a custom home, I not only have to deal with codes, regulations, customers, also banking and financial institutions when you're under a timeline to come in under budget or on budget, and also to meet all the regulatory conditions that are involved in home loans or financing. So I have a wealth of information and education and experience in dealing with large numbers. The biggest home I built was almost $1 million. So that's a pretty big chunk to bite off for a small business. So I consider myself a mid-level business. So I have over 35 years experience in extreme budgeting.
Kathy, we've heard you talk on our various forums and on the web and on your Facebook pages and things about a term that I'd like a little more clarification on. Anarcho-capitalism.
Okay.
Okay. Can you talk to me about that and if that falls in line with your belief system for government?
Well, it's not the whole statement, just the business part of it, just a little business part. We know the capitalism zeroes in on people's businesses, large businesses, small businesses, give people the opportunity to own their own business, open business. And when we have strong capitalism, we have strong financial, we're strong in our finances. So what I mean by that is that we provide reasonable permitting, reasonable fees for building, for infrastructure, etc., so that we can attract businesses and builders into our town. And we all know that when we have business and builders in our town doing what they do, we have revenue that comes in, and in turn then we can do the projects that we need to do.
So in addition, so it's not the full-blown...
No, it's not the full-blown. It's just the small business part of it.
Okay. So Mike, can you respond to that in maybe what you think is the role of government? Have you heard of this other...
Yes, I have. And from everything I've researched on it, anarcho-capitalism is another way to say deregulation and privatization of everything at the expense of the common person. If you read the explanation and the definition of it, it's a deregulation of everything from, if you want to go to the extreme, all the way from the police force to the military to everything out there. And really what it does is it puts, similar to the 1% versus the 99%. It only increases the wealth for the people who have the capital to advance themselves. I don't believe it's a good role model for a
a city government, because we're supposed to watch out for the whole community, not just for a select few of special interest groups, which this is directly aimed at, in my opinion.
So, Kathy, let's go back to you on this then.
Okay.
At what level does your involvement in this move? Mike just mentioned perhaps even extreme cases privatization of the police force. Where are you on that scale?
I am not there.
Okay.
As I said, just the small little business part of the whole statement. And in that statement, there is a part in there that talks about the business part of it. And I'm not for privatizing police. I'm not for privatizing any government. I'm just saying that let's do something to encourage the building and the business in Shelton.
Okay.
All right. Let's go back to Mike here for a moment. Mike, the city is struggling with their budget as recently as this week. The question is, why does the city choose to purchase garbage trucks at a $500,000 price tag each when there is private county companies available that could do the work?
That is a budget question. Last night they did there is a request for a new split body truck. The rationale behind that, and I'm not sure whether I support it or not, I'm still processing it. Currently, we don't have enough split body trucks to maintain all the services right now. In fact, at my house, it's 2 garbage trucks with 2 operators following each other around the city. So if we had a split body truck, you not only decrease the amount of gas and maintenance on a truck, but you also decrease 1 operator. So it is a cost savings. I'm not sure until we finish this rate study we're doing that it's achievable, but I do understand the thinking behind it, and also the idea that if we privatize the garbage company to Mesa County Garbage, which is a fine company, we no longer are able to control our own rates. They're in the business to make money. They have stockholders. They make a profit. The city only covers their operating and maintenance costs. Currently, they do not take glass, which I think most people in Shelton consider that a real luxury to be able to recycle our glass. That would now go into your solid waste, which increases our dump fees. So I'm not so sure I'm for the privatization of the garbage company right now, but I am looking at it with an open mind. Anything we can do to help the citizens out is our main goal down there. So we're looking at things.
Kathy, your comments on that topic?
I'm not sure where I am on that either. If we had 3 or 4 garbage companies in Shelton or in the vicinity that could bid for the best and had all the levels of the service that we need, let's go forward and figure this one out and go with the private. But we have 1 in the county, and so if we go with the 1, then we do have to, their rates, they don't take glass, issues like that. There's a community in Colorado that have about 4 garbage companies in their suburb of Denver, and every year they bid for the job, and the lowest bid gets it. But they have great garbage rates, but they have 3 or 4 garbage companies bidding for that. So with only 1 in the vicinity, I'm still not sure. First I thought, when I started thinking about this, the private one would be great. Get that out of the city's hands. But when we only have 1 in the area, I'm not sure how that would work.
And I guess one more question back to you, Mike, on this topic is, so the city is in the waste pickup business just to cover costs. Is it covering the costs, or is it costing the county or the city more than it's
Currently, we are real close on our budget. I think we're going into the next year's in a negative point. That is the reason we're doing a cost analysis on a rate study. Once again, it's another one of those utilities where nobody's wanted to raise rates for years and years and years, and now we're faced with not being able to keep up with simple inflation, wages and salaries, and tipping fees at the county landfill. If we don't incrementally raise our rates in a sane manner, we will continue to fight this battle. So either we have to decide to make a 5-10 year plan and stick to it, rather than knee-jerk reactions that our rates are too high, let's cut them again, and then we're upside down again like we are now. So I believe that we need to pay attention to rates, and if we're going to be in the business, we have to do it smartly, which means an incremental rate increase to keep up with inflation and costs.
Michael, we're going to stick with you and now move into the water system, which kind of goes along the same line. So when we first were made aware of the water system and water system upgrades, we were given 3 options to choose from. Mike, you were voted for and you were on the record for the 1% kind of the Cadillac deal looking forward into the future. I believe those decisions were made before the Simpson Mill closure was announced and things like that. Are you still happy with that decision moving forward? And can you kind of explain where we are with all that?
You bet I can. Yes, I still believe it was the correct decision. If you want to look forward into our future in a sustainable community, this is a necessary item. We are under a state mandate, if you will, by the State Department of Health that we're not in compliance right now with a number of things. One is adequate storage in case of emergencies. There's a state regulation that says we have to have so many gallons per person per day to sustain us in an event that is unforeseen. We also don't have adequate fire flow. In the case of a large fire somewhere, your pressures are not adequate to sustain that. Also going forward, growing things such as Shelton Hills. Right now, without this Cadillac plan, as you call it, we would not be able to provide them with the necessary water pressures that they're going to need to go forward. I realize that Shelton Hills is some years out, and we may be able to fix it if we don't take this Cadillac plan. The reason that I was supportive of this is presented the facts by our professional staff that this is a 1% loan, which is unheard of anywhere. And if we don't take advantage of it and only take the mid-level range and do the basic commitment to the State Patrol, which is supply them with water and the line they paid for, say 7 or 8 years down the road, when we're forced into complying with the state mandates and providing Shelton Hills, we have to go out on the open market and borrow an additional $4 to $5 million to do the project now. And that same project could cost as much as $8 million, and we will be forced to borrow money at a higher rate. And so in a business sense, it just makes too much sense to forego it. As a builder, I relate it to my own business. I mean, whenever you get the opportunity to borrow money at a lower rate to do something for the future, you take advantage of it. It's like if 2x4s are cheap today, you may not need them tomorrow, but you're going to buy them. I just relate it to the simple facts of economy.
Kathy, you want to comment on your understanding as well of the mandated update to the water system for the city? Did you agree with the path that the city voted on, or would you have gone a different direction?
I would have gone a different direction. I would have gone with we had a $2 million grant, would match it with a $2 million loan. We could have got the work done that needed to be done. My analogy is why build something without proof that there's going to be anything coming in? We have a nice housing development out across from the high school, and nobody's building out there. Maybe one house a year, one house every 2 years. They got that ready for all this housing boom, and nothing's been built out there. So my theory is that let's take the $2 million grant, match it with a $2 million loan, and let's get the basic work done that needs to be done. Let's hope that we get some building and business into Shelton in the next few years that can put revenue into our city coffer.
Well, and then the basic, as she calls the basic plan does nothing for the state-ordered issues of fire flow and pressure and storage that's required for each city. Do we want to take the chance of some sort of a repercussion from that? All our insurance rates are tied to fire flow issues. If we don't do these things, are we doing the service to the citizens that they require and need for the future and growing? I mean, I'm here to do the things for my kids and grandkids, not just for a small little section right now, just to keep us at minimal levels. I don't believe that that's good leadership.
Kathy, you want to talk about the fire flow that Mike just mentioned? Or
no, I do not. Thank you.
Okay. So let's move on to working together in a jurisdiction thing here. The city, the port, and Mason County should all work together. We all have overlying issues. There's often contention between the different organizations. Do you see a day that everybody can work together in harmony? And if you were in the City of Commission finance and accounting position, how would you work towards that?
I would encourage all three entities to work together. We all share borders. We all share common ground. The city is in the county, and the county, is a large area. So I truly believe that we can all work together, put our heads together on issues. I know the port is pushing economic development, and that's what we want in the city. We want economic development here. We do not want our city to struggle anymore.
Do you think it'd be easier for folks to, city commissioners, county commissioners, and even the port official commissioners to work a little better together if there were more people on the commission? There's 3 in the city, there's 3 in the county, there's 3 in the port. Do you think those numbers should be enlarged to have a little, because you can't have a real conversation with someone without making it a public meeting and things like that?
That's right. At this point, I'm for just staying with the 3 commission board, county also, and I hope that they will stay that way for a while. Look into see what a 5 commission would be. I do agree that you have more ideas. You're able to share ideas with each other when you have a commission or a council, 5-person council or 5-person commission, whichever. So that's something that can be looked at further down the road. Sometimes with a 3 commission, it's lopsided in what needs to be voted on and brought through.
Okay. Mike, same, or how do you feel on that?
I believe in the primary forum that we had out the Public Works, I believe my opponent stated she was in favor of a council form of government, as we all were at that time. As soon as, and I do feel that win or lose, I will be pursuing by either a people's initiative or a commission initiative to pursue a larger form of government next year. If the council will not do it, the people have the option to do an initiative, and I will be pursuing it, win or lose. I believe that it's time to go to a larger council because, as my opponent stated, with 2 people controlling everything, it can get lopsided. And I think that the more people you bring into this council, that you have more creative ideas and a chance for moving forward in different directions. We're not always the smartest people. We need ideas in there. As far as working with the port and the county, when I first got into office, one of the first things I did was go to the county and arrange, through working with the county, a process to which our historic preservation City Historic Preservation Board was able to secure funding from the county. And ever since then, I've built on that, working with both Commissioner Netherland and Commissioner Jeffries at the Mason Transit Advisory Board. We've worked really well together there. I'm also on the LEFT board, which is the Law Enforcement and Firefighters Disability Board, with Randy Netherland. Together, him and I have accomplished something that's never been done before in the city or the county, and that's to put in place policies that will control some of these costs that the city and county is incurring by the retired firefighters and policemen. They have a state mandated right to their disability, but that doesn't mean that the sky's the limit. So we've worked really hard with a lot of adversity there to get that done. And so I have a very close working relationship with both Commissioner Netherland and Jeffries, which I've been told has never happened very often in the county and the city's history. I know it's been contentious, but right now with the Simpson thing that Senator Sheldon has also acquired some funding for us, we're working very closely with them and the EDC in order to further all the people in the county and the city. We don't have to feel like we're 2 different entities. We need to work together, and I've accomplished this in my 4 years.
As far as my comment out at the forum 3 months ago, almost 3 months ago, it's been 3 months since we had that forum, and I did some investigating about councils and commissions, and I've changed my mind. I think in 3 months I can change my mind from what I say to begin with. I can change it. So I have still in the middle of the road. I'm not all for a council, but I'm in the middle of the road whether it would be a good thing or not.
Okay. Mike, back to you quickly. What is your 10-year vision looking out ahead for the city of Shelton?
10 years. Well, one, I really believe we need to get our housing market stimulated, and I have some very specific plans that I would like to put in place if reelected. I believe that that's the trick to a lot of our issues in Shelton, not only social and economic issues, but even political issues, that if we can develop some systems to rehab this aging housing market, that it's going to help. I mean, if you go to any of the Housing Coalition or the Community Lifeline or any of the social organizations, the first thing they say is housing first fixes everything. Drug and alcohol, mental abuse, or mental issues, all these relate back to housing. And I feel it's time that we look at our housing ordinances on lot development, on lot sizes, on how many duplexes per block. All these things should be on the table, because I think that is our trick to stimulate housing, which will bring in development. We'll bring in builders. And I've been doing that on my own to try to demonstrate that there are good options out there to buy. I've bought, just in the last 3 years, I've bought 3 and developed them, rehabbed old homes or bought lots and built new homes on them to show other builders that this is possible. And I know at least one other builder has taken that on and sees the value in that. My 10-year plan would also include attracting the younger millennials back to town. They're the driving force of our economy right now. If we don't give them options such as affordable housing, they're not going to stick around and become entrepreneurs. To establish small businesses, we need to attract a larger job base, and that's why I'm also in support of expanding our UGA boundaries out near the racetrack, so that we can attract some light industrial options to the community. So 10 years is a long time to really think out there, but I think that in 10 years we can pull that off, because we are the last cheap real estate section on Puget Sound. I mean, eventually, we've been saying it for years, but it's coming. I mean, you just look at Olympia is just getting very close to what the North I-5 corridor is like, that I think that we are going to begin attracting a lot of people to Shelton, and I want to be ready for it with such things as developing our water system, our sewer system, our roads, infrastructure, housing. All those things are going to attract an enormous amount of people in the next 5 to 10 years.
Kathy, 10 years from now, 2025.
25 years from now?
10 years from now is 2025.
Oh, I see. Okay, I thought you were pushing me down. 10 years, that's a long time. Hope I'm still here to see the future, but I'm excited about what we can do for Shelton. I believe the affordable housing is a very important thing to attract new residents. Good regulations, decent fees, whatever, to attract businesses. A quality business. Maybe the downtown is just going to be, like I said, we're not going to be on the backs of a big industry anymore. We have to reinvent ourselves. Let's get some big business out on the outskirts, push the UGA out, and let's get some big businesses out that direction. But I was in a little town. Well, it's not so little anymore. I was in a little town the other day. It was just gorgeous. And they had so many great things going for them. Beautiful homes, affordable homes, small businesses, affordable businesses for people. And the town is doing really well. So I believe that the housing is the number one out 10 years.
Okay.
Get some housing and business in here.
Okay, we have time for a question for both of you, and we'll start with Kathy. The key difference between Kathy McDowell and Mike Olson.
The key difference?
Politically speaking.
Oh, wow. I'm probably more of a conservative person, so I really think about before I put my foot forward to do anything. I'm very budget-minded. I see a way to do it at a better cost and get the same project done. That's me.
Mike, same question. The key difference between you and your opponent.
I believe the key difference for me is that I will not and have never joined a special interest group and do not let them guide my thinking. I work for all of the people in Shelton. I think that we need to develop a community that takes care of all, not just the business community. The business community is very important, but we can't develop them at the rate or at the risk of losing our citizens who support those businesses. I don't know which way I lean, probably more liberal than Kathy does, but I am not a risk taker with other people's money. I do my research. I make smart, informed decisions. I go out of my way to dig into the questions. And I believe that I've served this community very well over the last 4 years and would continue to wish to do so. I think I'm a good leader with a proven track record and wish to continue that.
Can I rebuttal on that?
Sure.
I want to ask Mike what his thoughts are on what are the special interest groups.
Sure, I'll respond to that.
Okay.
Chamber of Commerce, the master builders, and the realtors all endorsed you. I'm a 35-year general contractor who has never joined any of those groups because they're lobbyist groups, I feel. And I don't feel that they do what's in the best interest of all the community. I think they're locked into their own little section of the world, and that's how they vote as a whole. They've criticized the city on a number of issues without a proven solution in their back pocket other than deregulation. I don't believe that serves the people, and I believe that my opponent is beholden to all those special interest groups.
Please, Kathy.
This may get good. So the interviews you did do interview with Olympia Master Builders and Realtors. Were you hoping to get endorsed? Were you just there to explain your view?
Both.
And so if you had been endorsed, you would have been beholden to one of them?
Not at all. That's why I didn't get the endorsement.
But if they had said, Mike, you get our endorsement, would you have taken it?
I don't know. That would be an open-ended question, but I would come back to you. I see you joined the chamber during the campaign. You're a business owner of 25 years, but you never joined before. And as I looked on the website for the chamber, that was not in. They weren't supposed to allow that to happen. I wonder how that happened.
Friends, they can if you sign up as a Friends, anybody can sign up for the chamber. If you sign up as a Friends for $75, you can't bring your political views into that. So that's how I was able to do that.
There are different levels of chamber.
Yes.
I just find it kind of interesting that you chose during the campaign to join the chamber.
2 years ago, I was going to join and I never got around to it. So I decided this time. They didn't pressure me. It was my idea.
And we'll leave it with that.
Thank you both for
Until
your time this morning.
We'll have you guys back for our candidate forum on the evening of the 20th.
Absolutely.
2 Tuesdays from this tonight.
Running for Commissioner of Finance and Accounting. We want to thank you both for coming in. Kathy McDowell and Mike Olson.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you both.
8:33 here at KMAS. We'll step aside, get Mary Lynn Foster in with the latest in local news. We'll check back with sports and weather as well. This interview will be on the Daybreak page after we get off the air. You can also watch the video on our YouTube channel by subscribing as well. It's 8:33 and 57.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Local news is brought to you by Fred Holmes Tree Service. FredHolmesTreeService.com, 427-4489.
For KMAS Newsradio.com, I'm Mary Lynn Foster. Mason County leaders might crack down on neglected residential properties left in disrepair, used by vagrants, littered with junk cars, or overrun with rodents. The county commissioners yesterday discussed that possibility and the prospect of hiring an enforcement officer who would be responsible for monitoring derelict homes and properties. During the meeting, Commissioner Tim Sheldon said the abatement issues are out of control and called for an open season on criminals in Mason County.
And that's what you have to get to drive down this stuff, because it's coming from, a lot of it's coming from these houses that are either abandoned or derelict. They're a nest of criminals who, that's where the drive-by shooting occurred here out of Golden Pheasant Road, and that's a dump. There's a dump out there on the Nelson property along Holiday Beach, right along the water. That's awful. The one that I see going down Purdy Canyon, the top of Purdy Canyon, is expanded.
Sheldon says there are more than 1,300 cases of derelict residential properties in the county that need to be cleaned up. No action was taken at the briefing session, but the commissioners directed Support Services Director Bill Kenny to write up a proposal for consideration. KMAS News Radio is hosting 2 debates and a candidates forum. The first debate between City of Shelton Commissioner Mike Olson and his challenger Kathy McDowell is this morning at 8 a.m. on Daybreak. The second debate will be between City of Shelton Mayor Gary Krantz and his challenger Marilyn Vogler. That'll be on Tuesday, October 13th at 8 a.m. on Daybreak. KMAS News Radio will also be hosting a political forum on Tuesday evening, October 20th at 6 p.m. at the Mason Transit Community Center in Shelton. Candidates running for local offices, Mayor of Shelton, Commissioner of Finance and Accounting, Port of Shelton Commissioner, and 4 positions on the Shelton School Board will be at the forum. You're invited to attend in person at Mason Transit Community Center or listen to our live broadcast on KMAS AM 1030, FM 103.3, or online at KMAS.com. Nighttime drivers traveling on eastbound State Route 16 across the Tacoma Narrows Bridge should plan for 2 nights of lane closures tonight and tomorrow night as crews perform annual toll equipment maintenance. Before starting work at the toll plaza each night, crews will close the on-ramp from 24th Street Northwest to eastbound State Route 16 at 8 p.m. Crews will then close all of the good-to-go electronic toll lanes by 10 p.m. I'm Mary-Lynn Foster, and you're listening to the latest news on KMAS AM 1030 at FM 103.3 and online at KMAS.com.
Summer is about sun and fun, camping, biking, and barbecues. It's pulling boats and towing trailers. This is Doug Sample from Whitney Chevrolet. Let's face it, summer is busy. The last thing we want to worry about is borrowing a truck or whether your old one's going to make it. Do summer right with a new or used truck from Whitney Chevrolet. You'll be amazed at our selection. There's something to fit every style and every budget. Check out WhitneyChev.com or come in and see us.
Sports that drive to Whitney's, just down the road to Whitney.
This is Washington State football.
It's going to be an exciting ride.
Has room to the 20 as he breaks through to the 10. Dives through the pylon. Touchdown, Washington State.
Washington State, Oregon.
Has time. Throws it. Center of the end zone. Craycraft. Caught. Touchdown.
Listen this Saturday. Kickoff is at 3. Our coverage begins at 1 on the Washington State IMG Sports Network. Cougs, Dogs.
For News Radio 1030 KMAS Shelton, FM 103.3. That's it. And we are streaming audio and video this morning. KMAS.com, a very pleasant Tuesday to you. I'm Dale Hubbard. And in the wide and wacky world of sports, the Seattle Seahawks pulled one out last night. Don't ask us how, other than inattention by the referees. Pretty bizarre finish to what was a pretty hard-fought battle all the way through. 13-10 the final. I feel legitimately sorry for the Detroit Lions. I don't usually feel bad for any opponent of Seattle's, but they did kind of get robbed last night. But to Seattle's credit, and the player that pushed the ball through the end zone at the end of the game, he didn't know the rule either. I mean, nobody knew the rule. That's why there wasn't a flag thrown.
Yeah.
So it's obscure. People are paid. And, there was a point made in the post game, so what recourse does Detroit have? They can't roll everybody out there and do the last minute and 34 seconds over again. They get the loss.
Yeah.
Could impact them in playoffs, revenue, team around, on a lot of levels. And on the other side of the coin, Seattle is elevated with their second win in a row. They're even 500. They're moving on. They're happy. It's just a huge call. And these referees are paid to do this. And they should know all the rules, and they should get them right most of the time. The interesting part about this, I think, was that it was a non-reviewable type of play.
That type of play.
So had there been some concern about whether or not he'd gotten over the goal line, with the pass.
That was my first thought.
Then there could have been a stoppage, and they would have looked at that, and then maybe in the course of that, they could have re-examined the other portion of the play. But it was very bizarre finish, once again in Seattle on national TV.
Would you consider, what if Roger Goodell says, we're going to make it a tie? This was such a blatant miss of the rules.
I don't think either team would accept that. You fight too hard. You put so much of your soul into these games. Seattle will not give up the victory, and a tie would be a false sort of compensation to Detroit.
Or what if then they just say no game?
No, you can't.
So I mean, Detroit doesn't have any. I mean, they can't do anything.
There's nothing they can do.
Yeah,
non-reviewable.
Kind of suck it up.
And their coach, to his credit, Jim Caldwell, he was spot on. He says, they're not going to do me any good to cry about it.
Yeah, that is a tough one.
And he was a man about it, certainly. And so life goes on. And sorry, Detroit, but that's the way the ball bounces.
Yeah, really is.
So there you go. Seattle, going to get ready for the Cincinnati Bengals, who will cut them no slack. And this Seattle Seahawks offense has a lot of work to do between now and next Sunday morning, 10 a.m. in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Woo. All right, that's sports.
All right, it's 8:41, 57 out there. And seeing some reports of some light rain off and on. Very minimal, though. We'll likely see about 1/10 of an inch during the overnight into tomorrow. 1/4 inch forecast at 62 degrees. Thursday, cloudy and 68, and then the rain really shows up. Now, listen to this. Friday, 3/4 of an inch of rain, a high of 66. So we are going to see a wet High Climber football game from High Climber Stadium.
Yes.
As Central Kitsap comes to town.
CK.
And the next day, Saturday, another over 1/2 inch. Sunday, 3/4 inch. So wet this weekend. 57 right now and 50 sprinkling.
It's Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Join the guys as they talk with neighbors, newsmakers, and each other, getting your day off to the absolute best possible start in the history of mornings. Connect with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line, by email or Facebook. Now, from the gateway to the Olympic Mountains, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
It's 8:43 here at KMAS, and we just got putting the wraps on a pretty good debate just now. We had a nice back and forth.
That was a fast half hour.
It was a fastest half hour in radio, and that was I think folks could feel comfortable walking away going, I know differences now between the two, which is ultimately what you want. You want to be able to go, well, you don't want to vote against somebody. You want to be able to say you're voting for somebody.
Right.
And now the issues brought forth were good ones by everybody. So that's good stuff.
Next Tuesday, same time, a little after 8 o'clock, we will do this all over again, another half-hour format for you as the debate for the mayoral race in Shelton. We'll have the two candidates, Marilyn Vogler, the challenger, Gary Krotz, the incumbent, and they will be in studio with us to share their points of view and their feelings about the future of the city of Shelton. A reminder now, we will have a live candidates forum for the general election on October 20th. It is a Tuesday evening at the Mason Transit Community Center. Absolutely free admission. Please come out and support all your candidates. 4 school board positions are being filled for the Shelton School District, the 2 city races we've just mentioned, and the Port of Shelton commissioner race as well. So we'll have all those candidates in-house with us, a live broadcast of the general election forum, a candidates forum coming up on October 20th, and you are all invited. By the way, while you're listening to us on 92.9 there in Thurston County, we'll take a moment here while you drift over to 103.3. our new FM home and our only FM home after Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So that will be the only way to listen in beautiful FM. I don't know what it is. It's not stereo. It's just beautiful FM sound.
Yeah. I mean, there's a difference. You can tell a difference.
FM. No static at all.
Thanks.
There you go.
Thanks, Steely Dan.
103.
Is that who sings FM?
3, yes.
Steely Dan.
Yeah.
Last night about 5 o'clock, there
Still
was
miss the music, though.
after all these years.
Oh, man.
I mean, you've just been waiting, hoping. Well, it's been 7 years.
I know.
6 years.
Let it go.
Last night, right around 5 o'clock, there was a fire in downtown Shelton that caused some traffic problems as 10th and Railroad was the site of this. Started in the kitchen. In the latest reports that we have, the firefighters were able to get 2 of the 3 folks. This third person was trapped on the second floor. Cause of the fire is still under investigation. The 2 survivors were sent to St. Pete's to be checked out. They're okay. Red Cross also notified to make sure that there is some help offered up for the families. Big response. 5, 4, and 11 were the fire districts that responded. In addition to that, Shelton's Police, State Patrol, and PUD 3. We have got some pictures on our Facebook page, and the story is forthcoming on KMAS.com.
Bellingham-based grocery chain, Hagen, found buyers for 36 of their stores in California and Nevada. That's they're trying to downsize from 164 stores down to 37. And are basically just leaving the whole Southwest market. They're turning their back on salsa sales.
You know, they want Hagen traditionally has been a craft grocer.
Yeah.
So you don't want to have a mass number.
No, that's a lot of stores. Man,
that's a lot of stores. Another big story coming out of Olympia this morning. And if there's ever a time to crack one open at 8:46 in the morning, it's right now.
This is right now.
Fishtail Ale's Beyond the Pale Ale, produced by Fish Brewing Company.
Ale in the world.
Yeah. Not just ale, Dale.
We're not just saying that.
Not just ale, Dale. The best beer in the world.
Gosh.
World Beer Awards. So first off, it beat everybody in a regional style heat in America. Then it went on to win, listen to this, USA winner, the Americas winner, which would presumably involve Canada and Mexico. Maybe even South America, the Americas winner.
Yeah.
Then the world's best style winner for the pale, but then world's best pale, and ultimately world's best beer.
Yes.
That's
I want to go there today.
If you do, give me a call.
Okay.
Maybe I'll
go with me.
I'll find
Give me a tour.
babysitter.
Maybe you'll be my DD.
Kaiser and I will sit outside and watch you from the inside.
Kaiser, watch Dale. He's going to tip over here pretty soon.
In addition to that, Fish awarded America's Best Black IPA for their Real Ales Swordfish Double Cascadia Dark Ale.
Order that 2 times in a row.
Give me the Swordfish. And the Leavenworth Boulder Bend Dunkelweizen, America's Best Dark
My
Wheat Ale.
favorite Dunkelweizen.
Boy, it's sure been a long time since Schlitz.
PBR.
In Olympia. Yeah, PBR. Best beer. 1893 is when they got that distinction.
Yeah.
Spent many a college night reading the
Hams beer, the beer refreshing.
Blue Ribbon.
Hams beer.
Hams. I found
Schmidt.
Schlitz. I had to have gotten rid of it recently, but in my collection of shirts, Lucky Lager. I got a Lucky Lager shirt. I bought at the brewery like a week before the brewery closed.
Yeah. That was good of you to do.
Yeah, Lucky Lager.
Lucky Lager was a pretty popular beer back in the 60s and 70s.
Well, and now, and I bring it up because those are all, I mean, you can see through those.
Well, and Lucky had the little puzzles on their caps.
Yeah.
That was always awesome.
These new beers, I mean, people are making beers. Swordfish Double Cascadian Dark Ale. What does that even mean?
I don't know. I'm not.
What is a Dunkelweizen?
I'm not a connoisseur, and I don't know if it's a Dunkelweiser or Dunkelweiser.
It could be a Dunkelweizen.
Dunkelweizen.
It's just amazing. Well, big props
we'll ponder all that, and I'm thirsty now just talking about it.
Way to go, Fishtail. That's huge. Good for you.
Yeah, congratulations. Absolutely. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Mason County Garbage and Recycling on Johns Prairie here in Shelton is pleased to offer safe and efficient removal services. Mason County Garbage and Recycling is always mindful of environmental standards and is continuously striving for the highest excellence. Mason County Garbage and Recycling, upholding your trust within the community. Questions? Call 426-8729. In Belfair, 275-4590.
Taylor Shellfish is a proud sponsor of the Environmentally Sound program. For 5 generations, the Taylor family's been stewards of a healthy and prosperous Puget Sound. In partnership with nature, Taylor Shellfish brings you the freshest, most sustainable shellfish you'll ever eat. Visit their store at 136 Southeast Lynch Road, open daily from 10 to 6, and they're online at TaylorShellfishFarms.com.
Hey moms, what happened to that bold, pretty stud you married? These days, he lets your daughter braid his hair. He arranges pillows. He enjoys scented candles. He has officially been debolded. But you can rebold him with Papa Murphy's bold new buffalo chicken pizza featuring Frank's Red Hot sauce. That'll bring back his inner boldness. But don't worry, he still won't renew his motorcycle license. Home-baked Papa Murphy's large buffalo chicken pizza for just $11. Fresh made, fresh baked. Papa Murphy's, love at 425 degrees.
Hi, my name is Karen Herr, Mason County Auditor, and you're listening to Jeff and Dale on Daybreak on KMAS Radio.
All right, Karen. Well, you better get ready because we got some work coming your way down the pike here.
Shoes on. Get those toes out there.
1, 2, 3, over 10. That's pretty cool. All right. So we have got an election forthcoming. Had our first of 3 debates in addition to next week's debate during the morning show in the evening, and I'll try to get the rest of the schedule. The first Democratic debate nationally featuring, boy, I don't even know, I guess probably Hillary and Bernie.
There's 3 more other candidates.
Yeah, O'Malley,
right?
Martin O'Malley, and Lincoln Chafee. And then Jim Webb, who I thought was running, and I haven't heard anything.
Now,
and then Biden.
Biden has not made up his mind, and so the longer he waits, the more I'm inclined to think he's not going to run.
Yeah.
Now, his dying son, Bo, asked him to go ahead if that's his dream to do it.
Who leaked that information?
Yeah, and a dying son's wishes to his father, that wouldn't have been a public thing. So that was just a rumor. That's just a rumor. And he is visibly torn about the passing of his son this past summer. Absolutely should be.
Has tragedy in his life.
He's getting up there. He's early 70s, but he looks to be in exceptionally good condition right now. Best shape I've ever seen Joe Biden in. He's been out at a couple of public events. He looks pretty strapping right now.
If he decides not to run, whoever gets his endorsement is going to be good, because when he goes on the campaign trail and he's pressing the flesh,
he will, because he's a party guy.
He loves it.
Yeah,
and I think he loves the politicking more than the actual running of the thing.
Government.
So CNN has got the debate, and we will also have the debate if they want to lead they left open the door. They let the door open to Biden, saying, well, if you want to go, we'll leave an empty podium for you, which is pretty silly to me that then again they're making these. What do you got for me?
Well, we should have mentioned probably that our debate was sponsored this morning, and I didn't know if they wanted to be anonymous or not, so it was Tom and Amy Davis.
Oh, okay.
And so they paid the freight for the airtime for the sponsor.
Oh, good.
We have another group that is going to pay the freight for next week's debate as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to thank them for their participation, concerned citizens, both, and not to and to their credit, they didn't cast a shadow over the content of what we presented over the half hour, and we were left to develop our own questions and our own format. So we want to thank Tom and Amy for their support, and our group next week as well, and we'll make sure to give them the props for that. This is a big chunk of airtime, and so it does tax our resources a bit.
Sure, yeah.
Do that. So
yeah, for sure.
We
Okay.
appreciate that.
Good, yes.
But I enjoyed this. I enjoyed having the candidates in, and look forward to next week's. And I think we're onto something here. This might not be a bad thing to do next year during the Oh, so crazy presidential election year.
Yeah, I have a friend.
We'll try to get the
also-
presidential candidates. in.
Well, I was just going to say, I have a friend in D.C. We went to Western together. He, last time I checked, works in the Senator Murray's office.
Oh.
So who knows? Maybe I can get
Wrangle
something
up.
going on with that. I don't like
Pull
Matt.
strings.
I'll
Jeff.
try to pull some strings.
All right.
I don't like Matt Stafford much. He's from Dallas. They killed the president, JFK. I
What's
hold
that
it
guy-
against them.
What? Is that some kind of a rant on bleacher reachers or what?
It's what Michael Bennett thinks of Matt Stafford, the quarterback for Detroit. One day after his brother, Martellus Bennett, made some rather outlandish comments about Jay Cutler. And Martellus plays for Chicago.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
does Jay. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Seattle Seahawks defensive end Michael Bennett and his brother might have one-upped him.
Those Bennett boys, they like to talk.
After his team's controversial win over the Lions last night, Bennett went in on opposing quarterback Matt Stafford in a rather odd way. I don't like Matt Stafford much, quote.
He's got nothing to do with the
Dallas. They killed the president.
He wasn't even born then. So Michael Bennett jumped in the middle of Cam Chancellor's national interview. Pay him the money.
Pay the man.
Oh, my
Paul
God.
Allen, 17th richest man in the world.
It's so, I mean, Michael Bennett has, not a lot of bridles on him. So,
jeez.
Unbelievable.
That's
Well, it's
funny.
part of the makeup, and what makes Seattle so crazy is that we've got characters on the team, and we got a administrative staff that allows them to exercise their freedoms.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
All right. What time is it? 7:56, 8:56.
Yes, just about ready to roll out of here. What do we got in store for all the kids tomorrow, Jeff?
Well, it's a Wednesday, so we will have our port of call, get a recap from the Oyster Fest celebrations this past weekend.
Right.
Find out how the landlords felt the event went.
Yeah.
With Dick Taylor and John Dobson.
That's a good thought.
Also, at 6:46, we'll be living the country life, a new feature as part of our environmentally sound segments here on KMAS.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think we'll just, pass along the greatest in local news and stories to get you through the morning. And there are some other things going on that we'll definitely tell you about.
There'll be a lot of movement in and around sports. We'll be able to talk a little bit about how the American League playoff game went this afternoon. That'll be kind of interesting. And I think I'll be a Houston Astros fan today.
Yeah, I buy that. And then if it's Houston, Texas.
Wow. But it won't be. The first round goes to Kansas City Royals. Take on the winner of this series here.
Oh.
So, and then Texas is playing somebody else.
So there's no way it could be a Texas-Houston?
Well, it could be if they get through the next series.
The championship.
Yeah, the American League champion.
Well, that's weeks from now.
Yeah, you got that right.
9 o'clock, Tom Hartman, the Old Farmer's Almanac takes us there. Have a great day.
See you tomorrow.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Fashion mavens we are not, but we love to keep our eyes on the trendsetters. It's a look at the fashion forecast for the upcoming season from the Old Farmer's Almanac.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency.
Do you know the number one cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-790-9836. That's 1-800-790-9836. Call 1-800-790-9836.
With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report for Tuesday, October 6th, the 279th day of the year. The fall colors in New York State were buried in white on this day in 1846. The Finger Lakes region was treated to an early snowfall of 26 inches. When it comes to fashion trends, we admit to being a little behind the curve, but it's still fun to see what the trendsetters will be sporting this fall and winter. It looks like the 1970s will be back in a big way. Suede leather, turtlenecks, and psychedelic prints are said to be the look for the season. Flared trousers will be everywhere, along with some Victorian touches like frilly blouses and puffy sleeves. Can't make up your mind which colors and textures suit you? You're in luck. Wild patchwork designs incorporating mismatched fabrics will also be in vogue. There's your Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. Learn more at almanac.com.
WSU Cougar football is on 1030 KMAS Shelton, FM 102.1, and now in Thurston County on 92.9.